Adam Shit My Money Share. What's up, Adam? How you doing?
How's it going, man? It's fun doing a show with you that's not at 9:30 in the morning.
I know we're a little bit more chipper. I'm sure a high energy show coming, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right. So you just got done doing the deep dive, and how are you feeling about the slate? 15 games. We've got a ton of options, kind of at every tier, hitting, pitching. It's a cooler slate. How do you feel overall?
Yeah, I think it's one of the more wide open slates we've had in a while. It feels like we've had a lot of really bad pitching slates recently, but that's certainly not the case today. There's multiple guys at different tiers, like you said, that you feel pretty good about. Tons of good offenses, gaming cores, 15 games, so ownership matters, but not as much as it does on shorter slates since popular plays just still aren't going to be as popular. So I think it's pretty wide open. You can do basically whatever you want.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So just got my first crunch in here, and I'm liking the way things are looking. Um, so getting a couple of the plugs out of the way, at least one big one. We are, of course, presented by Yahoo Fantasy Sports. If you guys want to get $30 of Yahoo Sports rewards points, up to $30 of Yahoo Sports rewards points, feel free to go check out Emacs Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article. It's right on the homepage. Otherwise, you can go into the MLB tab, go to articles, scroll down a bit, and Emacs got some more some more information about how to sign up for this pretty cool offer. The promo code is Awesemo. Yahoo running out some really cool MLB tournaments as they have the last few months with the no management fee tournaments. And then if you guys have peeked into the NFL lobby, there's some really cool stuff. I don't know if we've talked about it, Adam, but the $1 million to $1 million in prize pool money. I think it's 100K to first in this NFL Week 1 tournament. You're going to be getting in that, right?
Yeah, I really like their NFL stuff because you don't have the time crunch that you do for MLB and NBA. So I get more action down over there. I enjoy it. So yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, just a $250 investment into the rake-free tournament management fee-free, they call it over there. It's all the same. I mean, 10 entry max, so you're not going to be competing against 150 lineups, and that's huge. You can compete with only a couple lineups. If $25 isn't kind of a price point you want to pay, then they've got a bunch of other tournaments as well at other price points as well. But you're not going to find a better tournament than that one around the industry. So we love Yahoo. And let's get into these games. We got 15. We got an hour and 10 minutes until live before lock. So we're going to try to jam all these ones in, go over top stacks, and do all the normal stuff. So let's start with San Diego and Philadelphia. We've got a 4.9 implied total here for the Padres. And I'm using the totals on the Awesemo lineups page, mlb.lineups.awesemo.com. If you guys want to follow along, it's a free page. You can see Alex's team totals that he puts up there. So 4.9 going to San Diego. 5 flat going to the Phillies. We've got Chris Paddock and Vince Velasquez on the mound here. Paddock, $9,400 on DraftKings. Velasquez at $7,200. Velasquez was a guy that was getting a lot of ownership earlier today on some sites. Right now, he is just mid-teens on DraftKings. Is he a guy that's appealing to you today, Adam?
Yeah, and it's really interesting that his ownership projection has actually dropped a bit. I like him today. It's scary because the game's in Philadelphia and he does have an issue with home runs. The Padres do have some power, but this lineup that they're running out there is actually relatively safe. Obviously no Fernando Tatis because he's on the injured list, but also no Hunter Renfroe. So while that takes a 30% strikeout bat out of the lineup, it also takes out a guy with a 267 ISO against right-handed pitching. It's just not that formidable of a lineup. They're still good enough hitters where Velasquez has, if he's missing his spots and leaving pitches out over the plate, he'll still get blasted by this lineup. But they're missing, a lot of good hitters, and so it's a watered down lineup. It's an affordable price tag on Velasquez. He has about a 24.5% strikeout percentage this season, and he's affordably priced, facing a team with a bunch of strikeouts in their lineup. So yeah, I'm going to be taking some shots at Velasquez.
Yeah, me too, man. And especially with the bats on this slate, I think Velasquez is definitely necessary. So not only am I getting to him as like an SP2 option, but he's going to be on a lot of my teams when I go double mid tier or even like double punt if I'm trying to get up to Coors and some of these other expensive bats, especially on the 2-pitcher sites. So Velasquez is probably going to be one of my highest owned guys on a 15-game slate, which is not something I thought I would have said before the season. What about Paddock on the other side? $9,400 on DraftKings. He's 85 on FanDuel and 47 on Yahoo. Anything you see about Paddock here in this matchup against Philadelphia?
Well, I want to double back real quick on Velasquez because so I mentioned, Renfroe being out takes out a 30% strikeout guy. Tatis is also a 30% strikeout guy. So while you do lose 2 power bats, this isn't the same. This isn't as high an upside strikeout lineup as normal. Like there's still some strikeouts there, but France is a low K guy. So is Margot, Hosmer, Machado, Urias. They're all lower strikeout guys. So a safer but not as good upside spot for Velasquez with this lineup. As far as Paddock, though, I wrote about him in the deep dive. And I'm interested. I haven't crunched yet. And so I'm interested to see how much I get to because he's going completely overlooked, it seems. And I don't really think that should be the case. Like, I think with all the good pitching on this slate, it's certainly reasonable if you decide not to roster Paddock. But he's cheaper on DraftKings and FanDuel. Yahoo, he's more expensive than Corbin. But on Yahoo or DraftKings and FanDuel, he's cheaper than Corbin and Syndergaard and Castillo and, obviously Verlander and Morton. And he's got a decent matchup against Philadelphia. Not the scariest lineup here. You get more strikeouts from Logan Morrison, who's in the lineup. Roman Quinn leading off isn't the scariest bat. And Paddock has been good this year. He's got about a 26% strikeout percentage. He has the highest 2-strike percentage of any starting pitcher in baseball that's thrown at least 750 pitches. The big issue is that, he doesn't go as deep into games as other guys because he's not going to throw 100 pitches. And, you can't even really confidently say he throws more than 90. But it's just interesting to me that he's so much cheaper than these other pitchers, but he's getting no ownership.
Yeah, I got to basically no Paddock, just a share. Yeah, 1 share out of 150 for Paddock on my last crunch. I doubt I get to a ton of him here. Philly's kind of a middling strikeout matchup. I think they're at 23% for the season versus righties. So not a bad matchup, not a great one. And there's just other spots that I'm going to in terms of me getting away from Paddock. How about hitting in this game? Is there any team, one that you want to stack up here?
No, I'm not really interested in full stacks. I think that grabbing some mini stacks or one-offs against Velasquez is probably pretty appealing. Less so against Paddock, but you do have a reasonable price tag on Harper. I think that Ty France is a really good value on FanDuel. He's only $2,000. His scouting grades on FanGraphs, he has a 60 grade power, so that's pretty good for 2K, and he's cheap on DraftKings too.
Yeah, he is. I thought France was getting a ton of ownership earlier in the day. He's dropped a little bit on FanDuel, whereas 2K. So he's just under 20%. Another min-salary guy is leading the slate on FanDuel and ownership. We just got that updated a few minutes before we came on. So a couple of value guys kind of leading the charge, value hitters, and on a 15-game slate. I guess they're not chalky enough for me to kind of just blanketly avoid them. But yeah, France jumped out as one of the better values in Alex's projections. All right, anything else before we move it on? Harper at 4,500.
I think he's fine, but he's not like a top outfield play.
Yeah. Did you see the play last night? The walk-off grand slam? That was pretty sweet.
I didn't see it. I heard about it. Did you see him say something to the fan right before he hit it? Or
no.
After his last, I think it was his at bat prior to the grand slam. He was coming back into the dugout, and a fan said something about him getting paid $330 million and being 0 for 3, and he told him to shut the F up.
He seems like the exact kind of guy that would like get off on that. Like,
yeah.
Just loving people trash talking him and giving it right back. So
yeah,
good for him, man. I love watching him play. So I was happy to see that. All right, Milwaukee and Harper's former team, the Washington Nationals, 4.4 implied total here for the Brewers. We've got a 5-3 total for the Nats. Adrian Hauser going up against Patrick Corbin. Where does Corbin rank in your top pitchers today amongst the Verlanders and Mortons and such?
So in terms of raw projection, I have him behind Morton, Verlander, and Castillo, a little bit ahead of Syndergaard. So I don't think I'll get to a lot of Corbin, but he's certainly in that category where if someone else got to him or someone else likes him a little bit more than me, I wouldn't blame them. Like, he's clearly a really, really good pitcher. It's just that, since I do have him behind Morton, Verlander, and Castillo in projection, I'm just going to end up getting to those guys probably.
Yeah, Corbin's kind of the one that's getting disregarded for me. Not the toughest strikeout matchup or anything against Milwaukee here. I just like other guys better. I think Morton makes a ton of sense at 11-6 in like the best matchup you could ask for these days. So I'm finding the extra salary to get up to him, and maybe even down to some other guys in like the Paddock tier that aren't Chris Paddock. So probably won't get to too much Patrick Corbin. Let's see where he's at in ownership right now. Oh, he's pretty low owned, down to 6% on DraftKings right now. Or no, I'm sorry, that was on FanDuel. On DraftKings, he is, just 7%. So kind of going disregarded. Didn't really see that coming as a pretty sizable favorite at 10-6 as a discount off some other guys, but I kind of agree with it. What about Hauser, 6,600? I think he's also super cheap on Yahoo. Yeah, $27. SP2 option for Hauser here. Scary total going against him.
He's interesting at that price tag on Yahoo. I'm less interested on DraftKings. His numbers are pretty good, but it's a tough matchup. He does a good job getting ground balls. He's got a respectable 23.5% strikeout percentage as a starter, but just not a lot of Ks in the lineup for the Nats. You have really good hitters with Rendon and Soto. Eaton's a tough K. So is Turner. Adams has power. It's just not the most appealing spot for a mid-range pitcher. I think that Yahoo, it's perfectly fine though.
Yeah, Alex has him projected as a pretty good value on DraftKings, or like a decent value on DraftKings. So I was getting to a lot of him when I'm trying to punt pitcher. I'm guessing that's going to come down a little bit. I think he was a better value earlier in the day, so maybe not a favorable lineup, or something happened to change that. Hauser's fine for DraftKings. It's just kind of a whatever play, and the win equity isn't strong here, being a sizable dog. So,
yeah, like I have Hauser around 12 DraftKings points, which at 6,600, and that being like a medium projection at 6,600, I think that it's fine. But he's just not really jumping out to me compared to other guys.
Right, and not getting owned either. He's under 1% now. That seems a little bit weird with a decent projection, but gonna end up with some Hauser. I hope I don't end up going crazy on him. I doubt I will, because there are a bunch of other guys in this option that project similarly. Nats bats against Hauser. I mean, none of these guys jumping out as elite values or anything. Maybe Emax boy Matt Adams, 4,200.
Yeah, not a lot for me here. Brian Dozier is really cheap on FanDuel. He's 2,200. But aside from that, Hauser does have a really good ground ball percentage. He's got decent strikeout stuff, like I said. And the Nats that I would want are expensive. It's tough for me to really pay all the way up for Rendon or Soto or Turner on this slate, no matter how good I think they are, because, you have the game in Coors. You have the Red Sox against the Orioles, which is probably even better than Coors. It's just really tough for me to pay for those guys.
And then the Brewers, I'm sure, probably an avoid for you on a 15-game slate against Corbin.
Yeah, I mean, there's some value with Kane and Braun in particular. Grandal too. Like Kane's 3,400 on DraftKings. Braun's 3,800. Corbin has allowed power to righties this year. He's allowed about a 180 expected ISO. So those guys I think are fine. Keston Hiura batting second's cheap too. I like the pricing on the Brewers. If you need, they're guys that I expect will fill in some lineups just where I need like a one-off or a two-man, and I don't have money to get guys in better matchups, but you're getting a lot of power from Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're actually the 8th most owned team on DraftKings right now. Nothing crazy on them, but the value guys just getting some ownership on DK, which is understandable on a slate where they'll probably be used more often as fillers. I doubt the full stack will be very owned at all. Let's go to the Cubs and the Pirates. We've got Kyle Hendricks going up against Joe Musgrove. Hendricks, 8,200, Musgrove, 62, using DraftKings pricing, 5.4 implied total for the Cubs, 4.4 for the Pirates. I've got nothing on this game. I don't know. Are you targeting anyone here, pitching, hitting, anything?
I can see getting to some Musgrove on DraftKings specifically just because he's 6,200. I have him projected a little bit higher than Hauser, so I would prefer him there, but it's not an easy matchup. You do have Hayward and Baez, who are both questionable. They're both in the lineup. So Hayward's a low strikeout guy. Baez a really good hitter. You have all of Castellanos, Bryant, Rizzo, and Schwarber in there. Lucroy's a low K guy. And Musgrove's not a good strikeout pitcher on his own. He's struck out 20.8% of hitters. So nothing really appealing there. Like in the deep dive article in my pros section for Musgrove, it was literally just his price tag. Like there's nothing else appealing about this for him.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys, similar to Hauser, grades out okay for his price. So SP2 option, I suppose, on DraftKings, but it's not like he's a clear-cut favorite over any of the other guys. And he's right now getting over 20% ownership on DK. Very, nothing wild on FanDuel. Let's see. I don't even see him on FanDuel here. I'm guessing it's really low. Yeah. Below 10%, well below 10%, below 5 even for Musgrove right now. Hendricks, I'm guessing we're on the same page, not playing him.
Yeah, I'm not getting to Hendricks.
Yeah, he's always overpriced, man. 8,200 against Pittsburgh. There's just
Yeah.
no real upside to him here.
Yeah, good pitcher, not a good DFS pitcher.
Yep. Cubs bats look somewhat cheap. Castellanos, 4,600. Hayward getting the lineup bump up to the leadoff spot, $13 on Yahoo. Mostly it looks like they're valuable on Yahoo. Not really getting to them as a DraftKings stack. What about you, Adam?
I think DraftKings would actually be my favorite spot to get to them because even though they're not priced as well as on Yahoo, with Musgrove currently projected for 20% ownership, PNC actually, like according to ESPN's Park Factors, PNC has been the third best hitters park as far as runs scored goes. It's been neutral for home runs, but there's it's been a favorable park for hitting. And if you're getting a pitcher in Musgrove that's getting a ton of ownership and you get good bats on the Cubs, it's not like you're lacking for talent. They're just not optimal plays. I think there's some appeal there as a leverage stack, but for the most part, I still don't think I'll really get to it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the top stack tool, we do have, and the top stack tool is actually free today, I believe. They unlocked it during the Yahoo show. So if you guys want to look at this and see who's over and undervalued, I think the top stack tool is the best comprehensive view of the slate if you're just looking for a quick look. We've got the Cubs at an above average rate of being the top stack right now, which I wouldn't have expected. 5.4 implied runs is solid, but it's nothing crazy in today's MLB. And I guess you were right on this one, Adam. So maybe I should be looking at the Cubs a little bit harder. Pirates bats against Hendricks?
No, I just don't really see a reason to. Adam Frazier is a good value at 3,400, but you don't even really need it because you have Diaz on Miami at the same price tag.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Cleveland and the New York Yankees. We've got a 5.2 implied total for Cleveland, 6.2 for New York here. Aaron Saval going up against Masahiro Tanaka. Anything you're looking at for pitching here?
No, tough strikeout matchup for Tanaka, and the strikeouts for him have been down this year anyway. And then for Aaron Savali, just a really tough matchup against New York, obviously. His price tag on DraftKings is appealing, and he's shown pretty decent stuff so far, but I'm not targeting a team with a 6+ implied run total.
Is it Savali? I can never
so.
remember this guy's name. Is it?
I'm not 100%. I think it is.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yankees, another team well above average in the top stack percentage on all sites here. They're coming in a little bit undervalued right now, but we've got a couple teams kind of taking the cake for the most undervalued at the top. Yankees surprisingly not even in the top 6 right now. I think they're more like 8th in terms of the most undervalued teams, but undervalued nonetheless. 6.2 implied total here against Aaron C. And Gary Sanchez is $10 on Yahoo. When me and Josh were making our lineups today on the Yahoo show, we basically put Sanchez in for literally every lineup. So I think you should consider that on Yahoo. If you're making 10, Sanchez should be on the majority of your lineups. But anything else that stands out to you price-wise, or you just want to stack up all these Yankees?
Yeah, I think that Yankee stacks are good again today. Sanchez, obviously $10 on Yahoo stands out as a cash play, as a tournament play, as anything. 4,500 on DraftKings, I think, is one of the top catcher options as well. Aaron Judge is still really, really cheap. He's not hitting well, but whatever. It's Aaron Judge. Didi's a reasonable shortstop option. It's just another good Yankee stack. Torres is back up to 6th in the lineup, which is nice.
Yeah, really nice lineup bump. You don't have to pay $5K for an 8-hitter or 9-hitter. I think he was batting 9th, basically.
And you don't have Brett Gardner in between.
Yeah. Have you noticed? You aggregate projections, right? But
yeah,
have you noticed how much Gardner pops up for Alex all the time?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, so I always get a ton of Brett Gardner when he's priced appropriately. I don't know about 4,600, but his numbers tend to like him. So I'm not exactly sure why, but I always play a lot of him. So
he seems like he has, I don't know, just anecdotally, like he always seems like one of those guys where like I'm looking at a team ahead of me and trying to figure out who he has that I don't, that like bumped him ahead of me, and it's like Gardner with 2 steals and a home run or something, but then his actual stats never seem like they're that impressive.
Right. It's like the guys with like decent batting averages, but
Right.
they're like good for stacks, but they're never really guys you're looking at individually. So I put Gardner in that category. Cleveland, 5.3 implied total against Tanaka. Tanaka has not been good, but are we going as far as targeting bats against him here?
I don't really like the full stack all that much. I do like some of the one-offs, because Tanaka has always struggled with home runs, even when he was a strikeout pitcher, and then now he doesn't even really strike guys out. So I do think that getting to like Jose Ramirez, who clearly has figured out whatever was wrong with him for a year, and is hitting really well again. Reyes is cheap with power, so is Puig. Just kind of mixing and matching those guys to fill out some lineups makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, decent pricing, like you mentioned on Jose Ramirez and Puig, and Greg Allen in the 2 spot. But I don't think I'm going to get to a lot of Cleveland stacks. I wasn't getting to them much at all, especially not in the stack form in my crunch before I came on the show here. So probably that's going to hold true despite I think they almost scored 20 last night, outburst.
Yeah, they scored a lot. I was not happy. Josh was.
Josh was very happy. You didn't have Cleveland either?
No, I had tons of Mets, tons of Twins, and the right Cubs. So I was really, really upset with the Indians.
Yeah, I was right there with you. Cleveland was the one team I didn't get to that scored a ton of runs yesterday. So that was disappointing. But if that happens to you on the main slate, you can always use the Osmo.com night slate projections, ownership projections. I've seen you in a lot of night slates lately. Have you been playing more?
Yeah.
Why is that? Just because you want to play more slates?
Yeah, just to play more slates.
Smart. I've been doing the same, but at lower stakes. So it's fun stuff, and we've got the tools for it. So feel free to check them out if you have not already. I think the promo code is, Deeper Dive for 50% off your first month of any Osmo Plus package, including Fantasy Cruncher. All right, let's go to Seattle and Toronto. We've got a 5.1 implied total for the Mariners, 5.7 for the Blue Jays. Wade LeBlanc, Jacob Wagsback, both at 6,900 here. Guys that I'm not getting too much of, if any of. Do you have something different here on either of these pitchers, Adam?
Nope, not interested in the pitching.
All right, let's go to hitters then. Decent implied totals, both over 5. Kevon Biggio is someone that was jumping out as one of the better values, even lefty-lefty against Wade LeBlanc. Do you like this Blue Jays stack that seems always underpriced on DraftKings?
Yeah, I do. LeBlanc, just not really a good pitcher. Gets a pretty big park downgrade going from Seattle to Toronto. Toronto's actually been the best park this year for home runs, just ahead of Coors Field and Camden Yards. So that's not great for a fly ball pitcher in LeBlanc, who doesn't strike a lot of guys out, and now is facing power bats with Bichette, Biggio, Guerrero, Grichuk, Smoke, Hernandez. Even Drury and Jansen have power. So it's just a really, really appealing lineup, I think, that is reasonably priced. The mid-range pitching, and especially the value pitching on this slate, there's talent, but there's also some question marks. I think Toronto's a team that would let you get some pitching that you feel pretty good about. You're still getting a lot of power from these bats. 5.5 or higher than 5.5 implied run total. It's not like we're digging real deep to find reasons to like them. I think there's a lot to like here. Yeah,
it's surprising that they're not more owned, especially with even as like fillers or anything like that. So they're getting healthy ownership, but just under 6% total ownership share, or at least average ownership share. I would think with a closer to 6 implied total that they would be getting a ton of ownership on DraftKings specifically. It's really Bichette is the only guy that's somewhat expensive, but he's been awesome and leading off at the shortstop position, 48. I think you could do a lot worse than that. So I didn't get to a lot of Blue Jays. I don't know if they're just other value stacks that are projecting a little bit better, but I wouldn't mind getting to a bunch of them.
I think it's also probably, if you look at the positions, like if you roster Guerrero, you can't roster Arenado or Devers. If you roster Bichette, you can't roster Story or Bogarts. Biggio is the same position as Diaz, who's probably the best value on the slate, best hitter value. So a lot of the guys on Toronto that you would want block out the top cruncher plays.
So just an opportunity cost thing on a slate with really awesome options at the top.
Yeah, but I think that'll also keep their ownership down, because people are going to want to roster those guys
for sure. Any Mariners bats you want to talk about here against Wagsback? What do you think of Wagsback?
I don't think he's very good. He has like a 16.5% strikeout percentage so far. His xFIP is really high. He's not even on. If you go to the probable pitchers on FanGraphs and sort by strikeout percentage, he's not on the first page. So it's tough to like see his numbers quickly, but hasn't been good. I think that the Mariners are reasonably priced too. It's a positive park upgrade for them. JP Crawford's a nice value. Narvaez is one of my top catchers. No Domingo Santana in the lineup is disappointing, but I think Crawford and Narvaez stand out.
I like the call. Crawford was the guy that we were looking at as a cash option earlier today on Yahoo. He is just $9. He is batting second, so I think he's probably going to be in play over there if you don't get up to Trevor Story, of course, kind of the premier guy at the position. But if you're looking to spend down, I think Crawford is a really nice option. And then Malik Smith, 4K, he's $12 on Yahoo, leading off. Like, it seems like he attempts as many steals as anyone in the MLB. Got a bunch of games with multiple steals that can just crush it for GPPs. 33 on the year. I didn't even realize how much he was running.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much he was getting on base, I guess.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, because he's not that good of a hitter, is he?
Nah, but he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna run every chance he gets.
Yeah. So give me all the caught stealings in the world if you're gonna get multiple stolen bases every other game. All right. Anything else on this game before we move it on? Just a game with a lot of value hitters.
Yep.
Baltimore and Boston, we've got a 5.3 implied total here for the Orioles. Alex has 8.1 here for Boston.
I'm seeing 8, and I usually see lower than Alex, so yeah.
Yeah. So 8.1 here. That I think is higher than Coors. Yeah, I think it's higher than Colorado right now, just barely. Aaron Brooks is awful, correct? There's no reason to believe he should do anything but get blown up here.
Correct.
All right, so all the Red Sox in the world, they're actually, when you look at Yahoo, it is almost impossible to fit in a 6-man Boston stack unless you're stacking up 6 through 9 and then taking one of the top 5 guys. So on Yahoo, you basically have to go 5 or 4-man stacks with Boston. Still, tremendous options nonetheless. Who's the guy who are the few guys that stick out to you, I guess?
I mean, all of them, but like Betts and Martinez, obviously. Devers is phenomenal. He's the most expensive on the team, so maybe his ownership is a little bit lower than everyone else's. I mean, Brooks, if you go back to last year when Brooks came up, against righties, he struck out 18.5%. He's allowed a 374 WOBA and a 251 ISO. And then against lefties, he struck out 17.7% with a 359 WOBA and a 274 ISO. Just gets absolutely blown up by both sides of the plate. The Orioles bullpen behind them is not good. So any Red Sox you get to, I think, are really strong plays. Jackie Bradley on FanDuel is 2,500. I think that's a really good value. On DraftKings, I think he's a good tournament play just because he's at the bottom of the order and won't get as much ownership. Mm-hmm. Same goes for Mitch Moreland.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. I think Boston's going to be a top 2 or 3 exposed stack for me. Not going to be a secret. Whether or not they get up to Colorado will depend on the final ownership projections, but going to have a ton of Boston hitters, whether it's 5-man stacks on DK, 4-mans on Yahoo, 4-mans on FanDuel, whatever it is. I think they've got a pretty good case of being the number 1 overall stack. And right now they are the most under-owned stack on DraftKings, a little bit different over on FanDuel where they're a little bit overvalued, so just cheaper over there. A couple guys bringing up their total ownership, but just phenomenal options. Porcello versus Baltimore. Can you stomach that?
I don't like it at 20% ownership on DraftKings. Like, I understand why you would be interested. He's facing the Orioles. The Orioles aren't good. But my thing, like, Porcello's not good either. He's got a 20% strikeout percentage against righties this year. Below that, like 16.5% against lefties. He gives up power. And while the Orioles aren't good, the top and middle of their order really isn't bad. Like, Villar's not bad. Mancini's good. Santander doesn't strike out. He's not bad. Nunez has power. DJ Stewart's back in the lineup. That's another relatively low strikeout guy that has some power. It's just, I don't think it's as appealing a spot as people are going to make it out to be. And they have, what's Alex have, like a 5.1 implied total on the Orioles?
5.3.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, they have a healthy implied run total. If Porcello were, 5%, and Velasquez were 20, and I don't know, like Wainwright. So like I would rather roster Wainwright than Porcello, and Wainwright's 9%, Porcello's 20, and I don't love Wainwright. It's just like he's someone in that price range that I have ahead of Porcello that people are not on.
Yeah, I don't get the Porcello love here at all. Not for you, but for the field. Like Wainwright's, I think, just a better option, as is Velasquez, of course. There's a bunch of guys in this ring. I'd rather play Musgrove. I don't really understand it here with Porcello. Like you said, big total going up against him, too. It's not like this is a 3.7 implied total and his team's just going to score a million runs and he goes 5 innings with 6 Ks. Like, he's not even that type of pitcher. So I'm with you here. I don't understand the Porcello love. Maybe it comes down, but right now I'm not going to get anywhere near 20% on DK. Did you mention any Baltimore hitters against him you want to target?
Not that I really want to target, just because most of them are expensive. I do think DJ Stewart's a good tournament play. He's only 2,900. This is his first start back after, I think, a concussion or something like that. First round pick, 4 or 5 years ago, something around there. But just 2,900 on DraftKings and shouldn't get any ownership because the Orioles won't have ownership.
Makes sense. All right, let's go to St. Louis and Cincinnati. We've got a 4.4 implied total here for the Cardinals, 5 for Cincinnati. Adam Wainwright and Luis Castillo on the mound here. Castillo was going basically unowned earlier in the day. The last ownership projection update, we have him at just over 10%. Is that appealing to you at all, or is everything going to Morton and other guys at the top here?
Yeah, I mean, I could see getting in around Castillo or a little bit over. He's obviously really good, but the walk percentage is an issue. And then on top of that, with the Cardinals being healthy now and getting Ozuna, Carpenter, and Molina back, their strikeout percentage really takes a hit. They're still overall like an average to slightly below average lineup as far as production goes. But Goldschmidt, Carpenter, and I think it might just be those two have strikeout percentage. Oh, Fowler are like the only 3 with strikeout percentages over 23% since last season, not including Wainwright. And so not the most appealing strikeout spot. Castillo obviously is expensive. He is a good combination, though, of strikeouts and ground balls. I had said the same thing about Sonny Gray yesterday. It's really unusual for one of the top strikeout pitchers on a slate to also have an elite ground ball percentage. And Castillo's up around 55% ground balls this year, plus a 28.7% strikeout percentage. So that's a lot of really good outcomes from at-bats.
Right. I love Castillo as a pitcher, but tonight it's just really tough. So exactly. I'd love to get around the field on him, but the other guys around him just project a little bit better, and they're right at the similar price. And now that he's getting a little bit of ownership, it's not like you're getting him at 3%. I think he was earlier.
Right.
It's a little bit more difficult for me to get him when I start filtering stuff out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wainwright at 7,500. You mentioned you might be more interested in him compared to a guy like Porcello at their respective ownerships. Is there anything about the matchup you see with Cincinnati that makes you like Wainwright, or is it just a pure pivot play?
Yeah, actually, I didn't even write him up in the deep dive because I hadn't seen Cincinnati's lineup. This lineup's really favorable for Wainwright. There's 6 righties in there. There's no Joey Votto. There's no Jesse Winker. So the only lefties are Van Meter, Galvis, and Barnhart. Not the scariest lefties. And against righties this year, Wainwright's actually been really good. 24% strikeout percentage, 299 expected WOBA, 139 expected ISO. The ballpark's not great, but aside from that, I think it's actually a pretty decent matchup for Wainwright, especially considering that he's not getting much ownership.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get to more ownership on Wainwright compared to Porcello. I'd be more than happy with that. Again, not a great pitcher, but you're seeing a 5 implied total. That's nothing special here. Nothing that you can't overcome for $7,500 pitcher, I should say. And if he's just going to get overlooked, I think I will get to some Wainwright with this watered down Cincinnati lineup. Why isn't Votto in the lineup? Did he leave early yesterday or something?
He got scratched yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Because there were a bunch of people asking Josh about where he got his Votto scratch news from, and he said, "Just trust me," in chat. Yeah. All right. Anything else here you want to talk about? Probably not targeting bats against Castillo too often, and then Reds bats either.
Not really getting the bats here.
I am not either. So let's move it on to one of the more fun spots to talk about: Detroit and Tampa Bay. We've got Daniel Norris going up against Charlie Morton. 3.2 implied total here on Alex's projections. Other sites have Detroit at 2.6 and 5.2 going to Tampa Bay. Morton is a minus 320 favorite right now. Is there any reason not to play as much Morton as you can?
Nope. The ownership obviously will be up there, but with it being a 15-game slate, it's pretty easy to differentiate with bats. And 30% ownership on DraftKings right now isn't crazy anyway. He's a really, really good pitcher. He's got as good a matchup as you can get. It's in Tampa Bay. There's no reason not to like Morton.
It's just so weird that he's only at 30%. Like, it's a 15-game slate, so everything's going to be spread out. But it feels like if this was Chris Sale at the same price, or someone like that, I know that Morton's not quite Chris Sale, but incredible strikeout pitcher against Detroit with one of the lowest totals we've seen all season. And he's only getting 30% ownership. I guess that means people are trying to pay up for bats, but usually, even on core slates, we see guys get up over 40, 45%, even on massive slates like this. So I'm taking advantage of getting as much Morton as possible. I hope I end up over the field, but certainly going to be at least close to where he's at. Just such a good K matchup here against Detroit. I guess the only thing that I'm worried about with going all in on Morton would be that I lock myself into a certain line of construction, and that only limits my hitter options. So
right.
That's the only problem I have with an 11-6 pitcher on a Coors slate with the Red Sox team that also has an 8 implied total.
Right. And you do have mid-range upside. Like, you can go just, like using DraftKings pricing. If you go John Gray plus, Velasquez, you're paying like $4,000 more than just for Morton alone.
Some cash players in the chat, of course. $54 for Morton compared to $60 for Verlander. That's a slam dunk. You play Morton in cash on Yahoo, right?
Yeah, I played Morton in cash on any site. He's my top projected pitcher.
Awesome. Love it. Tampa bats against Daniel Norris here. Tommy Pham was one of the better values earlier today, batting second, 4,300. Maybe Travis d'Arnaud under 4K leading off at catcher. Tampa looks pretty cheap here.
Yeah, we got a pretty decent lineup there. Josh and I talked about that this morning, that depending on how the lineup looked, it would be more or less appealing. I like the one they're running out there. d'Arnaud leading off is a good catcher option. Pham's a good option. Aguilar gives you a cheap first baseman. Meadows is, just good in general. And then just fill it out with one last guy, and you got a 5-man stack. The park's not appealing, but Norris gives up power. The Tigers bullpen behind them is not great, and there really shouldn't be ownership on Tampa. So it's not like you have to get to a lot of them in tournaments to be overweight.
Yeah, little ownership going to Tampa. I think I have some interest in especially those top few guys. Just really cheap for an okay total here on this slate that's not getting owned. Next game, Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. We've got a 5.4 implied total for each team here. Kenta Maeda against Mike Soroka. This is honestly the first time I even noticed Soroka was on the slate. I basically just disregarded him. Any interest in Maeda at 7,100 in this mid-tier range?
Not really. A lot of lefties in the lineup for the Braves. They're running 5. They have 5 left-handed bats. Echeverria is not good, but he's not a great strikeout guy. Acuna is really good. Donaldson's good. The price tag is appealing on Maeda, I guess, but I have him projected behind pretty much every pitcher in that range.
Yeah, I don't see myself getting to Maeda. There's no real reason to target him against a good team with a 5.5 implied total here. He just hasn't been great either, and he doesn't go super deep. Has Dave Roberts been? Yeah, they've been limiting him. I think he's only gone over 100 pitches, one start since March 30th. So kind of limiting your upside here. There are better options, I think, in this range than Maeda. So with that said, any Atlanta Braves bats you want to target against him here, or maybe the full stack?
Yeah, not really. Atlanta's a really good offense, but there's just so many spots on the slate that I like more than going against Maeda.
Me too. I'm not getting to Brave stacks. Kind of respect on both sides for this matchup. And then Soroka, frustrating pitcher to take bats against, but do any Dodgers stick out to you here?
I could see getting to some full Dodger stacks just because of how much power they have. But Soroka's got the second best batted balls or barrels per batted ball percentage of all qualified starters this year. Gets a ton of ground balls. Doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, so he's not a great DFS pitcher. And when you're not getting strikeouts, letting guys like Peterson and Muncy and Bellinger hit the ball is pretty scary. But he generally does a good job of controlling where those batted balls go. So not a high probability spot, but if no one's going to go there, I could see getting a couple Dodger stacks in.
Fair enough. I mean, anytime you can get a disregarded Dodgers stack with that much power, they're rolling out their normal lineup: Peterson, Muncy, Turner, Bellinger, Seager. That's a pretty good top five. Yeah, I don't disagree with the Dodgers full stack, especially on a slate like tonight with so many options. Anything more before we move it on this game?
Nope.
Twins and the Rangers, we've got a 5.5 implied total here for the Minnesota Twins, 5.2 for the Rangers. Kind of low at first look. Some respect to Odorizzi. I don't remember if the weather had cooled down. It is not. It is 98 degrees in Texas. Wind blowing in does not really matter in the stadium. So you can kind of disregard that. But Odorizzi at 9,200, Minor at 10K. These guys are complete write-offs, unless I'm missing something, right?
Yeah, for everyone not named Josh Engelman.
That's right. He's playing. So Minor's $42 on Yahoo. So I suppose he's at least in play over there. But you've still got, Yahoo's done a good job, or at least they've started pricing down some of these top arms. I don't know that Minor's a top arm. But if you just look at his game logs, 8 innings, 11 Ks, 7 innings, 7 Ks, 5 innings, 5 Ks, 7 innings, 10 Ks, he really gets the job done, but no one ever plays him. And I think for good reason. It's just, he never seems to have a good matchup.
Right. He's always pitching in Texas, and it seems like he always has a tough matchup. And it seems like he's been the most overpriced pitcher all season long. We can't get Sonny Gray to 10K no matter what. But Mike Minor's just been sitting there all year with worse numbers in, worse matchups. So, yeah, it's just, if he were, I think he's a good pitcher, but 25% strikeout percentage, 4.3 Sierra, facing Minnesota in Texas doesn't get it done for me.
Yeah, he's pitching in Tampa here. He's one of the better options probably. Maybe not against Minnesota, but or could you imagine if he goes to the Astros? I mean, man, you'd be
right
on this guy. But 10K here is really tough to get to. Odorizzi, I don't even know if he's a $9,200 pitcher against most teams, and you throw in the weather. No thanks. Do you have a favorite team here, Twins or Rangers, or are these teams kind of getting left in the dirt here?
I like Minnesota more than Texas just because I think that they're better hitters. Odorizzi's kind of always been a reverse splits guy, and you do have, so maybe he can, kind of limit damage from these Texas bats. But I think that, Garver, Sano, Crone in particular is my favorite hitter in the game. So, neither full stack's my favorite, but I prefer Minnesota over Texas.
Crone's your favorite hitter overall at 37?
In the game, yeah.
Okay. Is it just something in Minor's pitch mix, or?
No, I mean, Crone's just got a ton of power. He's still only 3,700. Great park, obviously.
I like it. All right, let's move it on to the Mets and the Royals. We've got a 5.6 implied total for the surging New York Mets, 4 for the Cincinnati Royals, Kansas City Royals. Noah Syndergaard going up against Mike Montgomery here. The Mets tried to blow another game last night, but they were able to hold on to I think a 6 or 7 run lead going into the 9th. Did you see that game, by the way?
No, I didn't.
I was tracking it, and I had a few Brave stacks against Stroman that were the rest of my team was doing well, and the Braves hit 3 or 4 homers in the bottom of the 9th and almost came back. They got to the tying run tying run at the plate, down 2 runs, and they finally closed it out. I think they allowed 6 or 7 runs in the bottom of the 9th. So it's been a roller coaster season for the Mets, and a 5.6 implied total here against Montgomery. Are you playing any Montgomery at 5,200?
I think I might. I don't feel confident in it, but I also don't feel confident in guys like Joe Musgrove or Mike Leake. And I don't really know why Montgomery's getting no ownership at 5,200 on DraftKings. he's not a great strikeout pitcher. It's not a great matchup against the Mets, but it's also not the scariest matchup either. I mean, you're looking at, well, it's not a lot of strikeouts. The bottom of the lineup having Panic, Nito, and Tejada. No Wilson Ramos in the lineup. Jeff McNeil is injured, so it's not the scariest lineup. Montgomery, since 2017, has thrown just shy of 200 innings as a starting pitcher. He's got a Sierra right around 4, like 3.99. Not a high strikeout pitcher, but at that price tag, you don't really need him to be. He's fully stretched out. He threw 100 pitches in his last start. He actually was getting swings and misses 2 starts ago against the Red Sox too, which isn't which is surprising. I couldn't figure out if he changed anything up or what, but basically, I just at this price tag, if he's going to get no ownership, I'm interested in going there.
Yeah, as I was saying it, I was wondering because I didn't notice getting to him on my DK crunch that I did. I got to about 5%. He's come up, actually. We just got an ownership update now. And he came up from, I think, 3 to 5%. So it's, minuscule there. But why wouldn't we be playing? I guess why wouldn't we be playing a $5,200 pitcher here on this slate where you're just looking for anything out of your SP2, assuming people are trying to stack up Coors and Boston, which they are. So,
right. Yeah, it's just weird to me. Like, I don't think that it's a super high upside spot. And I don't think he's a great pitcher, but I don't think Musgrove's a great pitcher. I don't think Leake's a great pitcher. They're both projecting better, though, in everything I look at. So I think that's why they're going to get more ownership. But for me, I'm fine with just giving Montgomery a higher projection because I think he should have one.
Yeah, I mean, Musgrove came way down, actually, in the last update. It looks like Leake went up. Norris came up a little bit. And, nothing huge that I'm noticing as far as big changes. What about Syndergaard? He's getting a little bit of ownership right now on 2 pitcher sites. On Yahoo, I think he's probably a little more interesting. I think he's at mid 40s. Let me see. Yeah, $46 on Yahoo, 10-1 on DraftKings. What do you think about this matchup against KC? Still no Mondesi, of course.
I actually like Syndergaard. I went from not liking him this morning to liking him now. And normally I hate Syndergaard. There's a couple of things to like, though. For one, Brett Phillips is in the lineup for Kansas City. And so that gives them another 30+% strikeout guy. And that's in addition to Bubba Starling. So you're suddenly getting a lot of strikeouts here. Dozier, Soler, Phillips, Starling, O'Hearn, Valoria are all big strikeout guys. And, Syndergaard, while he's not a great strikeout pitcher, he's good enough at 24.5%. He only has 4 good hitters in this lineup to worry about. He's got a great ground ball percentage. He's the 3rd best qualified starter in barrels per batted ball percentage. He goes deep in the games. He's gone at least 7 innings in 6 straight starts. It's a scary matchup in that if guys get on base, Kansas City will look to run because that's what they do. But I just think it's actually a good spot for Syndergaard. I think I actually prefer him to Castillo or Corbin.
This is big news coming from you. The noted Syndergaard hater, but he's actually he's had upside lately. That was my big issue with him. He's got to 37, 28, 33. You just weren't seeing these spiked starts earlier in the season. And now he's kind of put a couple together in the last few weeks. So I don't know if that's just variance or what's going on there. But I think you always talk about with him, he's like the unluckiest pitcher, but you don't actually buy into him being that unlucky, right?
Yeah, he just doesn't have good command. So he gets unlucky because he leaves balls up and guys just flicked him into the outfield. But
makes sense.
Brett, I double checked it because I was going from memory, but in the majors, Brett Phillips has a 38.8% strikeout percentage.
How's he in the majors?
Over 89 games. 88 games. 245 plate appearances, 38.8% strikeout percentage.
Yeah, I mean, that's not nothing. So is he supposed to be like a huge power guy or something? He's bounced around. He's on Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Astros, traded to Milwaukee in one of the trades in 2015.
Weird.
Yeah, he projects for a 160 ISO.
Yikes. Got to be your 5th hitter against Noah Syndergaard. Yeah. So go Royals here.
He has speed, so if he gets on, he's running.
I was just going to ask you about Merrifield. And then is Alex Gordon running this season? I haven't really noticed. I'm not seeing.
I was actually surprised. Kansas City's only stolen 45 bases this year. I mean, obviously they don't get on base a lot, and that's probably why. But I thought it would still be higher. I'm not
You
sure
think
about
so, right? I mean, 17 for Merrifield. I'm sure Mondesi has around 17, 20, and then I guess there's not a ton of speed elsewhere that's in the lineup here today. But Merrifield's
today.
the guy.
Like the speed today does scare me for Syndergaard because like you have Phillips, Starling will run. Gordon probably would run on Syndergaard. We know Merrifield will.
Yeah, Gordon 5 stolen bases on the season. I mean, if you can
Yeah.
steal at all, if you can run, you can probably steal on Syndergaard. It's just something that's not going to be fixed. At least it hasn't so far. What about Mets bats here? 5.6 implied total. They've been really awesome. Another 10 runs last night. I think basically the same lineup they're rolling out here. You've got, let's see, 8 righties going up against Montgomery. So we talked about possibly getting to some Montgomery as more of a price play for 5,200. Where do the Mets rank as far as your top values?
I don't like him as a team that much. The bottom of the lineup's pretty ugly once you get down to Lagares hitting 6th. But Pete Alonso, of course, is always a really good play. Ahmed Rosario leading off at shortstop, especially on FanDuel at 2,500 is a good play. But overall, I don't think I get to nearly as much Mets tonight as I did last night.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of Mets. I'm seeing, Alonso and Ahmed Rosario and Wilson Ramos come up. I'm sorry, not Wilson Ramos. But this was before I crunched, so I was getting Ramos, but this was before the lineup came out, I should say. So obviously no Ramos, but Alonso and Rosario were the guys I was getting to, and got no issue with that here. It's not a super hot game in Kauffman Stadium, where it becomes more of a hitting park, so not as appealing on a 15-game slate here as they were last night against Tehran. All right, let's go to Coors Field. We've got the Miami Marlins going up against John Gray. 5.5 implied total here for the Marlins. That's pretty good. That's one of the best totals they'll see all season. 8 flat for the Rockies. Sandy Alcantara, maybe I'm not saying that right, going up against John Gray. Can you get to Sandy here? I saw Chris Randone wrote him up in the Roses of the Day article. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not there. It makes sense from a leverage standpoint, I guess. Like if Alcantara has a good game, then you just knocked off a good percentage of the field. But I'm not getting there. I mean, Colorado's got like an 8 implied run total. Alcantara's got the highest xFIP of any qualified starter in baseball. It's about as bad a park shift as you're going to get going from Miami to Colorado. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, didn't know if you had any spicy takes there, like Randone. But What about John Gray at 8K? I think he's $36 on Yahoo. So he was a guy me and Josh were looking at over there, maybe even in cash. That might be too risky in Coors Field. But 8K on DraftKings, do you see yourself getting there against the righty-heavy Marlins?
Yeah, I think I'll get to a pretty healthy amount of Gray. The price tag just takes into account the ballpark. Like the only thing that you look at here and say why you wouldn't like Gray is that he's pitching in Coors. And I obviously get that. I hate rostering guys in Coors as much as anyone, but that's the only negative. Like it's a great matchup. Miami's going to get some ownership, so you get a little bit of leverage working in your favor as well. If this game were in Miami, he would be 9,500 on DraftKings or something like that. So it's clearly factoring in that this game's in Coors. Miami having an implied run total around 5 is actually low when you consider that it's in Coors. Like that's a low run total for Coors. Gray's a fastball slider guy. He has success in Coors. Since the start of last year, he has a 3.48 xFIP, 24.5% strikeout percentage in 155 innings, 52% ground ball percentage. I don't want to say I don't see a reason not to get the Gray because the reason is Coors, but I like Gray at this price tag.
Right. It's a 5.5 implied total, but basically any AAA team would have that kind of total. And the Marlins are essentially that. So
right. Vegas can't give a game in Coors like a 10 implied run total or a 10 total overall because all the money would just come in on the over.
Right. Vegas would just get smashed on that if
right.
the over came up. So I guess, of course, we like the Rockies. I'm assuming they're a top 2 or 3 stack for you, maybe even your number 1. I want to ask you about the bottom of the lineup guys, like Walters and Daza, like clearly the 2 worst parts of this stack, but they are going to pop up as good values in the optimizer. How do you avoid getting to these guys, or do you try to avoid getting to these guys when you're stacking up 5-man Colorado stacks? How do you kind of treat this situation? Because we see this oftentimes in Coors where one or two guys that suck are going to get a lot of ownership.
Yeah, I don't know if they actually will though, since they're hitting at the bottom of the order. But that's kind of the answer. Like if we have them projected for high ownership, then they'll be. By the way, I like sort my lineups by projection and ownership. They'll end up getting kicked out because they're not going to be projected high enough to garner ownership. But then on the other hand, if they are projected for low ownership, I'll get them in the lineups because I'm obviously going to want Colorado stacks. They're going to project really well. And they having one of those guys in there, if they're projected for low ownership, will give me a Colorado stack that also does well ownership wise. So just the way I choose my lineups, it puts me in a pretty good spot usually on guys like that.
Yeah, I feel like I've come up with a little bit of a system to try to similarly filter out my lineup so that by far my lowest owned guys of the stack, like I'm playing all 8 Colorado bats a ton tonight, but I want my highest owned guys to be the best parts of that stack. And when we were running crunches, we basically had to X out like when we were running just 100% Colorado 6-mans on Yahoo, we basically just had to X out Daza because he was coming up in like 90+% of the stack. So just be aware if you're using Cruncher, if you're using an optimizer, that that might be optimal, but it's not actually optimal for tournaments because you're playing basically all your stacks with one hitter that isn't very good, and the rest of the stack could go off pretty easily without him having a good game here. Marlins bats, 5.5 implied total. I am assuming they are pretty heavily over-owned. Most over-owned team on DraftKings, the second most over-owned team on FanDuel. Do you think you're going to get to a lot of Marlins here?
I don't think so. Gray's a good pitcher. The park is great, but that's the only thing really working in Miami's favor. It would be one thing if people were shying away, but at these price tags, I don't think that'll be the case. Like I think Diaz is one of the top value hitters on the slate, if not the best, as a $3,400 second baseman. You have Lewis Brinson batting 7th as a $2,200 hitter in Coors. So there's just really, really good value here, and that's going to drive people to the Marlins. And I just don't really want to be on a popular Marlins team against John Gray. I don't care where they're playing. So yeah, unless their ownership really drops, I don't think I get to much Miami.
Right. I think a couple teams like we talked about earlier, and maybe not the same price tags, but similar, a bunch of their hitters in that same range. Like we talked about Toronto and Seattle, ton of value in that game. If you're looking at the DraftKings pricing, a bunch of guys under 4K, like good implied totals there. 5.7 for Toronto, 5.1 for Seattle. There's some other teams, Tampa Bay, that also have similar implied totals, not getting nearly the ownership. So I'm not getting to a lot of Marlins. I hope that sticks. The guy I'm getting to most right now is Isan Diaz, but still well under the field on him. Similar to Daza and Walters, more Daza than Walters, but these guys are going to get a lot of ownership because of their implied total, not necessarily because it's a great spot. So looking to avoid the Marlins as much as possible against a good pitcher. And, if they beat me, then they beat me. You're going to lose to the Marlins a couple times a season. But, hopefully tonight's not that night for us. Anything more on this game?
No. So one thing that when you were talking about Walters and Daza, it kind of just made me realize it. If I had to choose between Boston and the Rockies, like who my favorite stack was, I think I would say Boston, because the Rockies essentially have a 6-man lineup, since you don't want Walters or Daza, and obviously Gray is a pitcher. Whereas, Boston, the bottom of their lineup's actually useful with Moreland and Bradley in particular. So I think that does give Boston an edge over the Rockies.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I'll be interested to see what Alex's exposure is like when I look at lineup study tomorrow. I always like to look at his and like yours and Tom's just to see when there's a couple spots at the top like this that are pretty obvious where they land and if they make any major stands here. But Boston and Colorado are probably going to be number 1 and number 2. All right, let's move it on to San Francisco and Arizona, a less exciting game that features Jeff Samardzija and Mike Leake. A somewhat chalky Mike Leake, 4.8 implied total here for the Giants. I was in on Leake when I thought he was going to be like 5% at 6K, and you just hope that he can go 7 innings like he tends to do sometimes. But a 6K Mike Leake at almost 20% ownership on DraftKings, does that get you excited here?
No. He's a good point per dollar play. He's similar to Musgrove for me. I have him a little bit ahead of Musgrove. But I don't think he's a good pitcher. It's a good park. It's a good matchup. The Giants, not a great hitting team, but it's still Mike Leake. He still gives up a ton of power. He's still got like the second lowest strikeout percentage on the slate. So I'll be happy with any lineups where I can just like get to a mid-tier pitcher and not have Mike Leake. But at a 6K price tag on DraftKings, I know he's going to end up in some lineups. I think he's viable as an SP2 in cash if you needed to.
I think based on where the ownership's at right now, I just want to spread my exposure out to all these guys. I think Velasquez is the guy that I'm probably going to make the biggest stand on. And then it'll be a mixture of, Musgrove, Hauser, Leake will be in there for sure. Got to some Daniel Norris before, but like even Porcello is going to fall in there somewhere. And of course, like Montgomery as well, Wainwright. Like there's just a bunch of these guys that are just kind of meh that, I'm just going to let ownership determine where I fall on these guys because they're basically all the same to me. Point per dollar. Samardzija, 8,500. Can't really justify that, right?
No, I don't really see getting there. Not a great strikeout matchup. It is a good park. He's decent, but I'd rather get to some of the good values on Arizona if I got to anything here. I don't think I'll get to anything much, but David Peralta, hitting second at 4,100, Lamb, Rojas are all okay values.
Yeah, Peralta's price seems kind of broken on DraftKings. I think Arizona is actually cheap on Yahoo. Yeah, they are. Besides Ketel Marte at 2,100 leading off, you've got Peralta for 12, Lamb 11, Rojas 11, Eduardo Escobar and Christian Walker at 19 and 17. It's kind of a nice mid-tier stack there against Samardzija. Would that be something you're interested in over on Yahoo?
It's not the craziest thing, I guess, but it's still a bottom 10 hitters park. It's still some hitters that aren't really that good.
Yeah, roof is closed here, so that obviously makes a huge difference in Arizona with the humidor that was put in place, I think, beginning of last season.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Houston and Oakland. We've got a 5.6 implied total here for Houston, 4 flat for the Oakland Athletics. Justin Verlander on the mound, not the most owned pitcher on the slate on any site that I'm seeing. Not on FanDuel, not on Yahoo either. Verlander going a little bit under the radar here, still getting some ownership, but is 12-4 and almost half the ownership of Charlie Morton, a spot where you would consider moving some exposure over to Verlander here?
I think it's kind of too close for me right now with how I have him projected. You still have to find another $800 to get to Verlander, and I have Morton projected for more points. It's not a great matchup for Verlander. Oakland doesn't have a ton of strikeouts in their lineup. The park knocks down the strikeout projection a little bit because of all the foul territory. It's not that there's anything wrong with Verlander. I think he's the most talented pitcher on the slate, but I think that with, right now we have Morton at 32% and Verlander at 18. I think it's kind of name value for Verlander driving him up a little bit. Like if it were, 40-10, I'd start to be interested in Verlander. But at 32-18, I don't know that I'm really getting that much of an edge by substituting some Verlander for Morton since I have Morton as the better play.
I think I agree with you. I mean, if Verlander comes down to like, let's say 10 and all of a sudden Morton's at 35 or, Verlander's at 12, Morton 35, something like that, I think I would be much more interested in shifting some exposure over to Verlander. But the reality of it is right now, the projections that I use, the ones on the site, those have Morton just a better overall play. It's not by a huge margin, but over a point, close to a 1.5 right now in Morton's favor. So the extra ownership is warranted here. I think it's a push at best here, unless the ownership starts to separate a little bit more between the two guys, because I would love to get to a low-owned Verlander, even in not a great K matchup. But it's not low enough ownership for me to be getting a bunch of him. So that's kind of my long-winded answer, long-winded way of saying that not going to get to a lot of Verlander, not going to get to Oakland bats. If you had to target guys against Verlander, maybe a bat or two guys that might be home run risks against Verlander, who would that be?
Chris Davis, Matt Chapman.
Oh, no Matt Olson. Nice.
Yeah, I'll take the righties.
Okay. Wait, is Chris Davis? Oh, we don't have him in the projected lineup, but I think he is supposed to be in the lineup. I'm seeing he possibly could be batting sixth. Let's see. He's at $7 on Yahoo, and Chapman is also at $7. So you could get to a two-man Oakland stack with two really good $7 hitters against a pitcher that does give up a lot of bombs. Yeah. Houston bats against Tanner Roark here.
They're affordable and obviously really good, but I just don't think I really get there. There are so many offenses that I really like on this slate from just a top stack percentage, and then there's value offenses that I like where the top stack, the teams that I really like, I like more than Houston, and then the value teams are cheaper than Houston. It's not a great park. The weather is like 70 degrees. Roark's pretty good against righties, and that's what most of the Houston lineup is. It's kind of like the Dodgers for me, where I get it as a talent play at low ownership, but other than that, it's pretty tough for me to make an argument for.
Right. I mean, if you look at the top stack tool, they're going to be one of the most under-owned teams tonight, not by a huge margin. It's just a tough park to want to stack up this team when you've got teams with as good or better implied totals at cheaper price points at pretty similar ownerships. So I think Houston is kind of going to get left behind for me, even against Roark. Would love to get a low-owned Houston stack or two against him. But I honestly don't think I really get to them at all. So anything more before moving on to the last game?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Actually, before we move it on to the last game, I want to talk about the giveaway quick that we're doing on Twitter. You can win 1 month of Osmo Plus by retweeting, liking, and replying with the player that stands out in Osmo's NFL season-long rankings and projections. Those are free on the site if you go to the NFL tab. So you basically just have to reply anything, just mention a player's name that you see in Alex's season-long rankings and projections, and you must retweet, like, and then, of course, reply. You have to be following the Osmo_com account and the Osmo NFL account. And we're going to pick 10 random winners on August 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern. If you are a premium member, you're not excluded by any means. You can still participate in this giveaway and have a chance to win a 30-minute coaching session from Osmo himself. So over $500 of prizes. And that 30-minute coaching session, pretty appealing for someone that's looking to get better at DFS with Alex. So would recommend doing that. I will post this link in the chat so you guys can do this. If you haven't taken part in that, please do. It only takes a couple seconds of your time, and you could win some pretty cool prizes. Let's go to the last game on the slate, the White Sox and the Angels. Then we'll get to top stacks here. 4.8 implied total for the White Sox, 4.6 for the Angels. Lucas Giolito going up against Patrick Sandoval. I forgot Giolito was on the slate, man.
Me too.
11K going up against the Angels, a team that's striking out quite a bit more. Do we have – I think we do have an Angels lineup right now. Yes, This is the confirmed lineup. You've got some higher K guys at the bottom of this order, but can you justify it here for Giolito?
It's just really tough with how many good pitchers there are on the slate. I think if it were like a slate that just had Morton and Giolito, I could justify it because – I would just be needing him to beat Morton, but it's just tough for him to beat Verlander and Morton and Corbin and Syndergaard and Castillo and all these guys. There are more strikeouts in the lineup, like you said. Ohtani, Upton, Calhoun, Dice, Rengifo, and I'm not sure about Ben Boom. I'm trying to look now. But they're all, reasonable strikeout matchups for Giolito. He's a really good pitcher, but he's priced like the pitcher that he is. You're not really getting any sort of a value on him. Yahoo, he's only 47, so I could see getting to him there. But outside of the low ownership, it's just really tough to make an argument for him.
Yeah, ownership would be the only thing, but it's still not a super favorable matchup against this Angels team. You look at the top of this order. So I don't think I'm going to get to Giolito. Would be surprised if I get to any of him on any site, that is. Patrick Sandoval, $7,800, probably priced close to out of play on DraftKings here. but on Yahoo, he's more in play at just $30 as a favorite. Do you see getting to Sandoval at all? And then feel free to talk about bats as well.
Yeah, the Yahoo price tag is really appealing, but I'm interested on DraftKings too. Like I have him behind Gray, I have him behind Velasquez, I have him similar to Wainwright, but I haven't really dug into pitching as much this year as I did in the past because like I've been max entering and kind of just going up projections more. But I did on Sandoval today because he has pretty good strikeout stuff. His Ks per nine at AAA this year were 9.8. At AA, he was up over 14. His actual strikeout percentage at AAA was only 21%, but he walked like 11.5% of hitters, and he's walked 14% of hitters since coming to the majors. The strikeout stuff is played through his first couple outings, though. But the White Sox have the second highest swing percentage in baseball. They have the second highest chase percentage in baseball. They strike out a ton. They have one of the lowest walk percentages. I think in terms of plate discipline, it's actually a really, really good matchup for Sandoval. And he's thrown 95 and 96 pitches in his 2 outings with the Angels. He's gone like 4 1/3 and 5 innings, but the pitches are there. It's just a lack of efficiency when you're striking out a lot of guys and walking a lot of guys. I think this is a lineup that could cut down on the walks and give him plenty of strikeouts. So certainly not a safe play, and I wish that he were cheaper, but he still grades out pretty well for me.
All right. Yeah, I'm not seeing him grade out super well, but a nice deep dive there on the deeper dive from you, Adam. Let's see. I didn't get to this guy at all. And that actually brings me to a point I wanted to address, or at least a comment I wanted to address in YouTube chat. A guy says, usually when the Osmo guys say things like, I'm not getting to any pitcher, that pitcher has a good game and is in the winning lineups. Can you confirm, Adam?
I think I make too much money at DFS for that to be the case, but
all right, top stacks.
Boston, obviously. Rockies, obviously. Beyond that, I like Toronto.
Yeah, I was going to say Toronto as well. Looking at the top stack tool right now, a couple teams that may be going a little bit undervalued. The Mets, actually. The Yankees, I think, are a little bit forgotten about just because they got their normal 6 implied total despite a somewhat watered-down lineup. They continue to do well outside of Aaron Judge. I think the Yankees are maybe going a little bit overlooked. And if you were looking for a fade here, like one stack, I know you're not full fading, but a team you definitely want to be underweight on, who would it be?
Miami.
Agreed. All right, guys. Let's see. We've got Live Before Lock. You could stay here for Live Before Lock. It'll be the exact same link. It'll be Josh running it back with me. Let's see. Make sure you check out the EPL content from Josh and Tristan on the site. Josh will have projections. Tristan's got free cheat sheets. And then you've got, let's see, premium write-ups. You've got, did I mention Josh's projections? Josh also has MMA content coming out. WNBA, we've got MLB, of course. We've got basically everything. Nolan did preseason NFL content. So make sure you check out Osmo.com and use promo code Deeper Dive for 50% off your first month of any Osmo Plus package. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes. Adam will see you tomorrow morning with EMAC. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Good luck tonight, guys.
got to do what we got to do here. I didn't set up the live before lock link, unfortunately, so let's swap to that, and then we'll swap off Zoom, and there we are. Miraculously, I have put us on screen. I'll update the ticker right now. But what's going on, everybody? It is live before lock. Don't adjust that dial. Jake's gone nowhere. Same guy, running it right back. Appreciate the hustle. I have run crunches while I was sitting here listening to the deeper dive, so I have all of my stuff essentially ready. And some of it looks kind of wonky, so I'm excited to talk about that. But first, plugs. Live before lock is the promo code, 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Any monthly package you choose, you can include the Fantasy Cruncher add-on as well. You'll get a month for 50% off. You can use the all access package. You can get access to every single sport we have. Baseball, NFL, soccer, MMA, golf, NASCAR, WNBA. It's not the season right now, but NBA, NHL. We got a ton of it. We got an absolute ton of it. So check it out live before lock. One big word when signing up. And we are brought to you every night on Live Before Lock by FantasyDraft. If you are interested in playing some rake-free DFS, boy, do I got a deal for you. Use the promo code AWESEMO when going to FantasyDraft.com. You can get a 7-day trial where your first $1,000 of entry fees are completely rake-free. Every contest you get into, up to $1,000 of entry fees, it's all coming right back. You won't pay a single cent. You really can't beat that. So if you want to check it out, FantasyDraft.com. Use the promo code AWESEMO for a 7-day trial of up to $1,000 in rake-free entries. Jake, you ready to talk about this slate?
Yeah, man. I feel like I haven't talked about it enough. I mean, I just teed up Adam. I just let Adam go, and that's a pretty easy show to do, man. Like
it's a sneaky easy show because of the time commitment.
Like just like carrying the show, that show, like Laffy does it obviously incredibly well.
Yeah.
And managing it with two people would be a ton harder, but like you just throw it to them and give out a couple takes maybe, and it's pretty cool, man. That's a cool show. I get why people love that show.
It is. It's basically just you just need to be like the bus driver. You need to make sure it gets from point A to point B.
That's right.
Speaking of point A and point B, let's talk pitching. I'm going to throw out a couple things that I have a lot of. You give me your thoughts.
All right.
My most exposed pitcher is Charlie Morton, but I have less than the field.
Okay, so you're just flat ownership across the board.
Not really, but kind of. So I have 27% Morton. I have 17% Verlander. I have 21% Noah Syndergaard.
Okay.
That is twice the field. I did not get to Mike Minor, so crisis averted there. But there are some Mikes that are highly involved in my team. I got to 22% John Gray. I am not opposed to that. 11% to Velasquez, 10 to Maeda, 18 to Rick Porcello. I assume you're going to make a face on that last one.
Yeah, his ownership has come down, I think, a little bit. Talking about Porcello, let's see. Let me filter by pitchers. I think these are DraftKings, right?
He's at 11% right now.
Yeah. So his ownership basically got cut in half. Same thing with Musgrove. Like when we started the deeper dive, those guys were close to double where they're at right now. So that makes them more appealing, just in that if everything's bunched up together, then I can just spread it around and just hopefully make better lineups than people. Whereas if one of these guys is getting all the ownership, you kind of got to make a choice. And it looks like they squeezed Leak way up. And where did you say Velasquez was at?
I have 11. Field is at 17. Speaking of Leak, 26.
Oh, yeah. All right. I mean, he's getting owned, so it's not like you're making a massive stand.
Yeah, I liked it a little bit better when that number was lower and more was going to Musgrove. Yet here we are.
Yeah, so Musgrove, I'm not excited to see where I end up on him. I think it might be pretty high because I was getting to a lot of him at 20% or whatever he was earlier, and now that he's dropped, could be pretty rough. Could be an early night in my Cubbies rock Musgrove.
Speaking of Musgrove, I only have 8%, which is matching the field as of right now.
Yeah, you're fine there.
FanDuel, most owned pitcher, John Gray. Second most owned, Noah Syndergaard. So, going to be a fun night.
That's not a bad one, too. I think Gray is your highest owned on FanDuel. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Couldn't get to enough Morton and Verlander, just too expensive for the bats that I wanted. I have 3% Verlander and 15 Morton on FanDuel. So
nice.
Should be fun, I guess. But yeah, I was able to run all my crunches, get everything ready and like locked and loaded for hopping on here with you. We've gotten 2 lineups since I last looked. We got the Giants, we got the A's. I don't have much of either one of those teams, so I don't think that I'm even going to have to rerun anything. And if I'm lucky, these teams are just using guys that I don't really care about.
Nice. Wow. Okay, so DraftKings is running hockey satellites.
I saw that earlier today.
I think I actually won one yesterday, but just seeing it again, like, I guess we're like 6 weeks out. It's not that far away. But just weird that they're running them that far in advance for NHL. Maybe they're actually going to try to grow the sport. Who knows? Hopefully FantasyDraft has some pretty cool contests for NHL too.
I wish I could play them. So I'm writing down that Jurickson Profar is out of the lineup and Corbin Joseph is. I'm not going to recrunch. I'm just going to swap those guys out if I have them.
Well, Corbin Joseph on FanDuel is 2K, so you're going to be okay swapping.
Yeah, and on DraftKings, Joseph is 2,600. So as long as they have the same position eligibility, I'll be fine there. I also don't have Jurickson Profar, so everything I wrote down is useless.
There you go.
And then the Giants lineup is out. Belt is hitting 7th against Mike Leake. That seems smart. Anytime you get,
Whoa, that's so dumb.
That seems really smart. Yeah, hit the like button like T. McBee says. All right, Brandon Belt, Yastrzemski. All right, so Posey is in. Longoria in. Scooter in.
We just got ownership too.
Pilar in. Crawford in. Okay, so it's Posey for vote, which should be an easy fix. I think vote is generally more expensive. And then who is in for Alex Dickerson in for Austin Slater, who I don't have, so I don't care. I just have to swap Steven Vogt to Buster Posey. Whoop whoop. That's easy.
Whoop whoop, indeed. Always nice when that works out. I'm guessing you're not getting into a lot of Houston, right?
I tried. I have a very small amount though.
Yeah,
but
FOMO is crazy.
Yeah, that one's bumming me out. I really did they have the biggest gap between my ranking and their ownership right now.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, the Yankees have a comparable gap. So I got to a little bit more Yankees, and then the Indians have the biggest gap. So I've already the Astros just got pinched out because of 2 other teams.
Right. That's what it's like, man. If you want to play the chalk tonight, at least the expensive chalk, that's going to come at the expense of not getting the Stros and not getting the low-owned Dodgers, and that sucks. But
did you say we just got an ownership update?
We did.
Okay. That I will continue to update. But
6:11 Eastern.
So talk to me about your pitching now. What do you think is going to be the biggest stuff that pops for you?
Yeah, so just kind of waiting on rankings before I start running my final crunches here. But
sure.
Before it was, so just was getting a ton of the expensive bats, and I was getting to Velasquez a ton. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get to some Morton. I think more and more thinking that I'm not going to get to where the field's at, but I still want to get to like 20% Morton. I think that's a pretty reasonable number, having 20% of my lineups at least being one super expensive pitcher.
Yeah.
Just that lineup construction, I think, is still appealing tonight when you've got some value stacks. I also like to get like a couple Syndergaard lineups and just other guys like that. Corbin too.
Yeah,
So
I'm really digging Syndergaard today, so I'm sure he's going to get bombed.
I'm sure you had to hear what Adam had to say about him too. He's on him.
He and I have been talking about it all day.
Oh, yeah.
He messaged me earlier and was just like, I hate that this is happening.
Brett Phillips, the missing piece in playing Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah, that's all you needed. All you need is Brett Phillips in the lineup, and other pitchers will look fantastic.
He made a really good case for him. Like, I was like, oh man, I should be playing some Noah.
I truly do love the spot between the park and sort of just the lack of pop for the Royals. I'm just in.
It is, it's a reasonable spot to play a bunch of Syndergaard here. The problem I have with him is just going religiously by the projections. He doesn't grade out as like a great value compared to Syndergaard and Castillo. Like a tad bit better than those two guys, but it's nothing big, and you're just saving $500 and $700. So I wonder if I just don't get to any of those guys. I wouldn't like that. I'm definitely gonna get to some Morton, and probably one of those other three: Castillo, Corbin, Syndergaard. What'd you get for Verlander?
Very little. I just want to point something out quick. You'll want to know this. Ruben Tejada is popping up with the 0 player ID coming out of FC. So just something you guys might want to keep an eye on. You might need to swap that into his actual player ID.
I think they might have that fixed by the time I get to exporting.
Oh yeah, certainly possible. I just got the error on 2 of my lineups, so I wanted to at least point that out for a brief second. Let me just finish copying this right now. I'm pasting lineups into I want to get them uploaded so I can swap out vote. I have 17% Verlander on DraftKings. So equal to the field as of right now. And I am more than okay with that spot. There's basically not a number of... Like, I would take anything of Verlander. If it came up when I ran that and it said 50, I'd be like, okay, I'm paying up for pitching today. I wouldn't care at all if it made the lineups work, but it's just been a way bigger bats day for me.
Yeah, I hope to get like 8 to 12 of Verlander. Yeah. I'm almost always under on these pitchers unless there's just a value stack that's going overlooked, which you could make the case there might be tonight. But like the Mets,
it's not the Marlins, that's for sure.
It's not no, it's not the Marlins. I should just X out the Marlins for main stacks.
I might as well have.
Play them.
I have 2 5-man stacks on DraftKings and 1 4-man on FanDuel. So they are my biggest fade of the day. That should not be surprising. I assume that you're going to try to do the same thing.
Yeah. Like, give me some 2-mans and stuff. I'm all for that, but a 5-man Marlin stack against John Gray, like they could be playing this game in Mexico where they played that Yankees Red Sox series, and I'd still be like, nah,
right?
Because they're just so owned. They're only owned because of Coors.
Yeah, I have, so just going over all of it: 1 4-man, 3 3-mans, a 2-man, and 2 1-offs on FanDuel. I have 1.4% ownership compared to 6.9 in the aggregate. On DK, it's 2 5-mans, 3 3-mans, 2 2-mans, 8 1-offs. And again, I have 2.5% compared to 8.8. It's the team I am most under the field on. And that is exactly what I want when I enter my stuff in here. So that makes me feel really good.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly how I'd like to play it. It's a 15-game slate, man. You're really going to stack up 5 Marlins like in a bunch of your lineups? I don't think that's the play tonight.
They're going to go crazy now, aren't they?
Probably. They scored 10 against the Dodgers yesterday, I think. 8 or 10. Could happen, but
let's just hope that it doesn't.
Someone else is going to score 12, so who cares?
Oh, God. Give me a first catcher off the top of your head that's 2,400 or below that's starting on FanDuel.
Ooh, 2,400 or below.
Yeah, I'm trying to replace vote, but I have one spot that it would have to be like more manual.
So you've got Manny Pena. I'm seeing. You've got.
Yeah, I'm good. I already got it.
Do you go Pena Stallings?
I clicked on Chris Herman's name to just get it out of there, and then I'm going to deal with it later. I didn't feel like dealing with it anymore. And my dog is in my face for some strange reason.
Really?
What do you want, man? Why are you smiling at me like that? Not that I'm mad about it. You seem happy, but you also seem like you want to go outside. Well, guess what, pal? You're going to need to wait 46 minutes.
There you go.
All right. I have all of my lineups in and updated right now.
Wow, you could not be farther ahead of me.
That's the perk of producing the show immediately before this.
I know, right?
So I'm good. I'm feeling good. All we need is one more lineup, which is the Astros. So I don't know. I have 29% John Gray on FanDuel just feels like a lot for Coors, but I don't mind that at all.
You're getting such a nice discount.
And the Marlins are picking up ownership. So if Gray has a great game, that's killing all of that ownership as well.
Yep. And I think the Marlins are a better stack too on FanDuel. So it makes sense that they're getting ownership, or at least I can justify it there, because you're not home run hunting as much. You're looking for like you can be a good 3 or 4 man stack on FanDuel with 5 runs, because you can just hit singles and doubles, and you don't necessarily need the 14-point events on like you would on DraftKings or FantasyDraft or wherever.
Do you think you're going to get to any Orioles?
I wouldn't mind it.
I have a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it, because Porcello is getting owned somewhat, and I don't think Porcello is good. So if he was still sticking around 20 earlier, then yeah, I'd probably get to at least some Orioles. Now that he's come down a bit, they're just not priced that well, at least on DK.
I have way more than I thought I was going to get. Not like I have a lot or anything, but I have a little.
Sometimes all you need is a little. We saw Alex think 100K with one Rocky stack out of 150. So
that's all you need. All you need is one. Yeah, I'm a little bit more spread out than I was expecting today, but I think it's just kind of the nature of the beast. I have 5 teams at 9% ownership on DraftKings: Red Sox, Indians, Rockies, Blue Jays, Padres. I think I'm okay with that.
I have a feeling I am not going to be very spread out today.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, at pitching, maybe, but I think I know where this is going, because it was just so many Colorado, just an absurd amount of Colorado bats. So I don't know if I should lower the.
I wish I were getting more Red Sox. That's my only regret.
I would love the Red Sox to be my number 1 and still play a bunch of Coors, but then you're not playing any Morton.
Exactly.
That's kind of an issue.
The 5-man that I have the most, the San Diego Padres.
What?
Yeah.
Just leverage. So you cranked up the leverage or what?
A little bit. Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
I have 13 5-man stacks of the Padres right now. That is the most I have of any team.
Yeah. They're a fine stack against Velasquez at that ownership, because he's a volatile pitcher, and kind
of bums me out that there's no Renfroe. That's not appealing to me.
No Renfroe or Tatis.
Yeah. Well, the Tatis one I knew regardless.
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, he's done for the year.
Whoa, I did not know that.
That might have gotten announced while you were on the show before, actually. It came out today, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow,
so that's not old news that you've just been sleeping on or anything.
Okay. Well, not like it would have mattered. I've certainly slept on old news. I'm pretty sure I talked about a guy for a minute yesterday that was on the DL. Legalized, I think. It was yo, he's not playing. And I was like, all right, thanks for the heads up, man.
Hey, we've got like 800 people in here. It seems like a really good time for everybody to hit the like button. I mean, there's 800 people. Maybe we can get 800 likes.
Man, now that would be everybody working together for a good
teamwork
thing.
makes the dream work. We've got a top stacks tool that is free today that anybody can go see. If you want to go to the @AwesomoMLB Twitter handle, you can get some information on how to get to that. The pinned tweet, go check it out.
Why wouldn't you? We talk about the top stack tool all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is your chance to check it out. You could probably check it out next Friday too, but why wouldn't you look at it today while you have access?
Yeah. Since it is free, I'll put it up on the screen right now. Give people a little bit of a look. Boston Red Sox, highest chances of being the top stack today, and they are not getting nearly as much ownership as they should. Undervalued. Colorado, undervalued. Yankees, undervalued. Who else do we got here? Where's my Padres? Padres a little overvalued. That's not helping me at all. That's a sad face. Indians, though, going right back to that well. Hopefully they can smash again.
That well led you to the treasure yesterday. Almost got that mini max. By the way, you should be playing the night slate mini maxes. It'll give you a better chance to win one. You know?
Well, I mean, if we're technically, I'm going to say that I already got one, but it was MMA.
Okay.
But I should play the night slate mini max.
Wow, dude, the night slate, I've been actually doing better on the night slates than the main.
The problem is I want to go to sleep most of the time.
Well, locks at 10 your time, right? Are you asleep before then?
I try to be.
Wow. All right.
Is there still a mini max open?
For the night slate?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. There's usually, they actually made it.
There is not a mini max available any longer. Oh, I'm on satellites, of course.
Yeah, there's for sure. It had like 2,000 spots.
Oh, yeah. So there's a. Oh, that's tomorrow's.
It's a 3-gamer tonight. So.
It's still open.
I would play it, but I'm going to a engagement party tonight. So.
Is it your own?
It is not my own.
Okay.
That might be something I would tell you if it were.
Okay.
I mean,
I was gonna say, like, thanks for burying the lead on that one, man.
I would tell you. But no, it's a buddy's engagement party. So I gotta leave like right after this and drive in traffic probably. So that's
not fun. Not fun. What can we touch on here? 6:26. We're about at the time for dong picks. Did anybody get one last night?
I did. EMAC did.
Oh, great.
Bad night for you, man. Although you had a good DFS night.
Yeah. I mean, I expected a lot more out of the Cubs. I had 20% of them, so I can't be too mad about having Castellanos there. I assumed Bryant was going to hit one, and I didn't like. It was going to be one of those times where I didn't mind that Chris was going to be happy, because normally I mind. But it wasn't. Right. It ultimately didn't matter. I'm just going to go over dong picks now. So here's where we stand through August 15th. EMAC in the lead, 27 dongs. Wow, dude, you've really picked it up this last week and a half. It's really disconcerting. 27 dongs for EMAC, 25 for Jake. I've got 22. Spags has 18. Randone has 3. I don't have the highest pick rate any longer since EMAC got his yesterday. I am in second. I'm still ahead of you in pick rate, and that's really all that matters to me. And Chris is still not in anything. So that's all that matters.
Chris is lagging behind pretty good here.
I know. It is incredibly satisfying. I'm hoping that he can keep that home run pick rate below 20%. I know he's going to try to round it up to 20, but I'm going to say that it's 19.8.
Yeah, he was telling me yesterday that 20% is the magic number.
Okay. I would pay money for him to end at 19.9.
All right. You would change it so it doesn't round to 1 decibel. It would just round to a whole number.
Should I round down? Alrighty. It's time to make dong picks. The floor is yours. You are ahead, so feel free to take whoever you would like.
All right, let's see here. I do like this is kind of a weird one because he's not someone I would have expected to pick, but oh my God, Chris Rendon just took him.
You do take precedent over that pick for being on the stream.
He can have him. That's so weird.
So who is it? Oh, Danny Santana?
Yeah.
Were you really going to make that pick too?
I was really going to make that pick.
Damn.
But that's all him. He got it in before me. I mean, I'll just take a Red Sox then. I was going to be somewhat contrarian, but
yeah,
whatever.
I was thinking about doing the exact same thing there. So,
how about you give me Mookie Betts?
Heroic effort here.
Yeah, this is game time. There's no prize for getting contrarian double dongs. I mean, besides the double dong, but I'm in business now, so let's go. Mookie, the king of the triple dong. It would be nice if he got another one here tonight.
Well, I'll say this much. If Mookie Betts triple dongs, I won't be mad. He's my third most owned hitter, or he's my second most owned hitter on the entire slate. So he triple dongs, cool. No complaints out of me. I truly have no idea who I want right now. I just I don't want a Red Sox. I don't feel comfortable with a Yankee. Do I want to just go with a guy that I've had my eye on all day, even though I don't? Now I can't do it. He stinks. I might have to put this on ice for a little bit and think about it a little bit further.
Whoa, man. Come on.
I'm incredibly not confident in making a pick today. I don't have a pitcher that I really want to target against.
Do I own that much real estate in your head where you can't make a pick with me?
I didn't mean I'm going to make it later tonight. I just meant 15 minutes from now while I continue. I didn't really look at it. I was busy cranking out my lineup. So
fair enough.
You know what? I'm just going to do this because it seems like the way to do it. Since you are on Mookie Betts, I think it would probably be in my best interest to take a Red Sox as well.
Why not? It's corner of the market.
That's exactly right. Every time I take JD Martinez, I think Xander Bogaerts homers. But I'm going to take JD Martinez.
All right. So Xander double dong. Stack up those Red Sox. Betts, Bogaerts. You can leave off JD. I mean, we've got the nuts now.
I did pick JD Martinez 9 days ago, and he went yard. So
okay.
I will take that. We got to figure out who Emac's pick is. Rendon has Danny Santana. Can you pull up Emac, or how are you doing on crunches? Do you need me to look that up?
No, I'm in the middle, but I have nothing to do.
When Emac messaged us earlier today, who is he officially taking?
Devers.
Alrighty.
There's the first guy he listed. So he listed Devers, Betts, JD. So there you go.
All right. So Mookie for Jake. I've got JD. Emac's got Devers. Man, the Red Sox are going to bust like crazy tonight. Rendon's on Danny Santana. And no sign of Spags as of this moment.
No, I think, I don't know that he's going to be making a pick. I'm not sure. I thought he said he had something going on or something, but who knows?
All right, so I'm going to give you the teams that I am most over the field on in terms of stacks. Give me your thoughts. The Indians are first.
Ooh. All right.
The Blue Jays are second.
That's a good one, man. I hope I get to some Blue Jays. I really liked them when we were talking about them on the deeper dive. They're cheap. They're getting some ownership, but they're not getting usually when you see a team like this, if the Marlins didn't exist on this slate, I think you would see Toronto being super overowned.
Right.
But Miami's just taking all the ownership. Like straight up, I would take basically all these hitters over every Miami hitter.
The Marlins are the team that I am least over the field. They are at the bottom. Most teams are like 6% in the aggregate that I'm under the field on. That's FanDuel plus DraftKings. The Marlins are double the 29th team, so that's kind of crazy. But Indians, Blue Jays, Orioles, Padres. Those are the 4 teams that I'm most over the field on across FanDuel and DraftKings.
Nice.
And I still have essentially equal to the field on the Red Sox and Rockies. So I'm pretty happy with where that's coming in.
Sounds pretty good to me. I mean, I can't hate on any of those teams. Josh Gordon reinstated? I know this is a baseball show.
I mean, okay.
Was that expected to happen?
I don't know. Just how long will it take before he's back out of the league again? This has been happening over and over again for like 6 years.
Dude, I actually feel like it's been like 5 or 6 times. It's probably been like...
It might even be more than 6 years. It's been happening since I worked at the first job I ever had in Wilmington. I've worked for 3 separate companies since then.
But he was in college, right? When he was doing that.
No, I mean, he's been getting suspended in the NFL since at least 2013.
It's crazy.
So, actually, it was probably even before that. Trying to think about when I worked there.
I think it was because, yeah, he was around when I was in high school. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And
I graduated in 13. So.
Good God.
There you go. Feel old yet?
That one got me. Considering that I was the class of 2003.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm coming up on what? I guess this was 16 years this year. I don't know.
Crazy.
I think they stopped sending me that shit.
The invite to the...
You want to make any donations? No, I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm good. I haven't been home to see my family in a while. The rest of the high school class not going to be a large priority for me.
Yeah.
Red Sox, Rockies, Blue Jays, Padres, Indians, Orioles. That is a fun place to be. I've got some Yankees. I've got some Brew Crew. I don't mind this at all. Do you want to try to guess some of the teams that I don't have a 5-man stack of? There are a lot of them.
Okay. We did this the other day, right?
We did.
And I'm going to say you don't have Detroit.
Correct.
You don't have...
There are 10. There are 10 teams I don't have a 5-man stack of.
You don't have KC, right?
Correct. That's 2.
You don't have Oakland.
I do have Oakland. I have one 5-man Oakland stack and no other Oakland.
How about do you have Arizona?
No. Okay, so I have a lot of teams. There are 2 teams on FanDuel and 1 team on DraftKings that I don't have a single player of. And they're not the same. 2 teams on FanDuel that I don't have anyone of. 1 team on DraftKings that's a straight 0. Can you figure them out?
2 teams on FanDuel. I bet you don't have any Tigers.
Correct.
And I bet you don't have any on FanDuel. Let's see. The pricing's not great.
This should be easy.
No?
What?
Do you have any Oakland? I said Milwaukee. I figured it wasn't obvious, but is it like Oakland?
No and no. I have 1 2-man stack on Oakland, so you're close. Tigers and Royals on FanDuel.
Royals, okay.
Who don't I have on DraftKings?
Not one player?
Not a single share of anything. Straight 0 across the board.
Why don't you give me I don't know, this is weird because those are like the 2 teams and it's not the same team. St. Louis?
No. I have 8 5-man Cardinal stacks.
Wow. Against Luis Castillo.
Yeah. Not only do I have a lot of cards, they're like fourth.
Pittsburgh.
Mm-mm. I have a very small amount, a 3-man and a single one-off. You might not get this.
Arizona? I don't know.
Nope. The Washington Nationals.
Wow. Against old Hauser?
Yeah.
I mean, he's elite. 10 Ks last game, so.
It's going to happen again, too, I guess, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, this works.
Yeah.
Anything coming out of... Have you started crunching or anything yet?
Yeah, I've started crunching. I'm just laughing at a tweet we got. If you guys want to respond with your home run picks or tell us how bad our picks are, I will, again, post the link in chat. Kind of a fun thing we do. It feels like you guys like to interact. And one guy said, didn't give a home run pick. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He did. Am a Red Sox fan, and I will say they will not do anything tonight, period. JD Martinez will hit 2 home runs.
That's my man. May or may not be my burner account.
So the Red Sox won't do anything.
But JD will double down.
I mean, if he hits like 2 solo dongs, we need to get this guy's information, and he needs to start come working for us.
If he hits 2 solo dongs, I'm going to be insufferable in Slack tonight.
I'm sure. I won't be in Slack though. Hopefully,
I'll just tag you over every 5 minutes until you respond.
Well, I'll get those. So
good. That's perfect. All right. So before we go on, I do want to hit our pinned tweet from the Awesemo_com account. I'm doing a giveaway, and it's a massive one. So here's the deal. You want to go to @Awesemo_com. That is our Twitter handle for the whole site. And what we're doing right now is a giveaway for the NFL season. You'll need to retweet, like, and reply to the tweet that we have pinned. And all you have to do is write the player that stands out most to you in Alex's season-long rankings and projections. So if there's somebody you think is projected way too high, if there's someone you think is projected way too low, if you've got a beat on somebody that you think is going to be awesome, list it there. As long as you retweet, like, and reply to that tweet, and you're following the Awesemo_com account and the Awesemo NFL account. All of this has to be done by midnight, August 19th. On August 20th at noon Eastern, we will pick 10 random winners to win 1 month of Awesemo Plus. And if you are a current Awesemo Plus subscriber, you have the opportunity to win a 30-minute coaching session from Alex Baker. It doesn't get better than that, guys. That is something that you cannot get outside of this giveaway. We don't sell it. It's not available in any other form. If you want to get something like a 30-minute coaching session with the boss man himself, all you have to do is go through everything that's in this pinned tweet. It's an incredible value. I highly recommend it. Go check it out now.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. There's no reason you shouldn't be at least participating in it. If you're a premium member, you can still participate and win the coaching session. So no excuses. I don't think, you're going to need those extra 3 seconds it takes. Unless you're Jeff Bezos, maybe his time's not worth it. But I don't think anybody named Jeff Bezos is watching this. So, feel free.
So I said that I would be insufferable if Martinez hits 2 dongs. SJM, won't you be insufferable regardless?
No, that's a good one.
Pretty much walked right into that one.
All right, Ruben Tejada is messing up my sheet. Classic.
Told you. You're lucky I gave you the tip.
No, he's his name. I don't have him in my name database.
Oh.
How do you spell Ruben? R-E-U?
R-U-B-E-N. He's not a sandwich.
R-U-B-E-N? Wow,
Yeah.
so just like it sounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think
There
he's
you go.
slathered in Thousand Island and corned beef.
Hey, you don't know that. Does he seriously not have any?
All right, one of these 3 pitchers, Wainwright, House? There's a House? Hauser, I guess that's supposed to be. Or Norris. Which would you choose, or would I prefer a different cheap pitcher on FanDuel? Wainwright, Hauser, Norris. So we're looking to go I guess no. I guess it's Wainwright. I actually have 7% Wainwright. So Wainwright is the answer.
Wainwright, Hauser, or
Norris on FanDuel. I can tell you what, it's not Norris.
Give me the Hauser. Dude, I
have more
Hauser,
Wainwright than Hauser, but I don't mind it being Hauser.
I'm getting a lot of Hauser because he's got no ownership right now. This is kind of wild. He seriously has no ownership after a 10K game? That doesn't
Hauser?
even...
He's at 2% on DK right now.
Oh, 2%? Okay, I had him.
So we were
lower.
talking FanDuel there, where at 6,300, you don't really need him.
Yeah, you don't really need that.
I have 5% Hauser on DraftKings. I'm cool with that.
Ooh, I had that, maybe add a 3 in front of that.
I was going to say, after the first 5 lineups you crunched.
Yeah. That's
yeah, Mike Leake is that guy for me today, so that should be great for my blood pressure.
Wait, Hauser's at, what'd you say was that?
I have him in here at 2% on DraftKings, but if we've gotten an ownership update in the last minute or two.
Okay. And it's lower than that.
Even better. I'm not even updating it. I'm running with it. Guys, if you want to get questions in, feel free. I am more prepared today for this slate than I have been in a while. So. Until the late scratch comes in, or I don't know, 4 of the Astros guys get cut out of the lineup.
All right, there we go. I'm in some good company. Rinpack says I have so much Hauser too.
Where's the good company at?
Rinpack? Are you kidding? The GOAT? This guy thinks every sport. Doesn't even know. I think he acts like he doesn't know MLB, but he just takes down 15K quietly, mid-season. This guy's just a stud.
I don't disagree.
45K playing Showdown NBA, just hits the absolute nuts.
Yeah, I was gonna say the NBA Showdown one was a monster.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have any Brewers? I do, in fact, have Brewers. I have Brewers. I have the Brewers as my 8th most owned stack. I am over the field on both sites. Josh, you screwed me the other day. Boyd and Yanks were trash. Sorry, Terry. Sorry.
Oh, dude, I don't know, dude. I think I might win over Terry at some point if you keep having trash takes like that.
Yeah, what a terrible take. Matt Boyd and the Yankees.
Okay, you got to know that anytime there's chalk in MLB, it busts. So
it's true.
Right? That's how that works.
Best stack with Morton on FanDuel. What's my top Morton stack? Indians Padres is in the top ranked Chris Morton lineup that I have. It's a 4-man Indians.
Charlie's brother, Chris?
Wait, what?
You said Chris Morton.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Charlie Morton. 4-man Indians with a 2-man Pods. Or a 4-man Indians with a 2-man Phillies. Those are my top 2 Morton lineups. But either way, Indians. Who's my favorite cheap pitcher on FanDuel? I don't know how cheap you mean, but if you mean cheaper than John Gray, then I have the most of Rick Porcello. But hopefully John Gray is cheap enough.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go cheaper than Gray on FanDuel. Maybe, but I would like to avoid it if I could.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm not really happy with it either, and I have it.
All right, so just all over everything that has to do with the Rockies and the Red Sox. I would say my first... I'd say 80% of my first 30 ranked lineups are Red Sox / Rockies. So Yeah, we'll see. Might not work out, but it's not going to be for lack of trying. And if it does work out, I'm going to have every combo. They're just, yeah, that's just the play for me tonight.
I mean, the expectation is that one of them busts, right?
Yeah, probably. Both of them busting, I think that's a little bit far-fetched.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. My highest owned pitcher, you want to hear?
Hold on, let me guess it.
This is funny.
Is it Hauser?
It is Hauser.
Yeah. How big?
Huh?
How much?
40. So like 40% of a guy, man, I hope we get another ownership update where he comes up to like 5 or 6% or something. Like just so I'm not playing 40x a guy.
You know, you could just not do that. You can type 5 into the ownership projections yourself and dial it back.
I could, but I want to have the most accurate information, so.
That's fair.
Do I have, hold on. Do I have, oh, okay. I messed this up. Now this makes sense.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good. I saw 4-1 stack in my correlation ranks, and I was like, how did that get in there? But it was an error.
McCod wants to know who the Paul Blackburn of the night is.
Well, Adrian Hauser is the GOAT, so can't choose him.
No.
Alex must just think Hauser, or the numbers that Alex uses must suggest Hauser is going to be a good pitcher, or that he is already.
I mean, I like him too, but I'm just never going to get that sort of exposure to a pitcher. So I have 5%. Like, I feel like that is aggressive.
Oh, 5's not aggressive. I mean, 5% of anyone. What is that? 7, 8 lineups. But
who's your Paul Blackburn of the night?
Let's see. Who's my highest exposed bad pitcher? Because I got a lot of them here. Musgrove, I wouldn't put him in that category. I wouldn't put Velasquez in that category.
Daniel Norris?
That's a decent option. Oh, I got 9% Syndergaard. I'm pretty happy with that. How about... Yeah, I'd actually... Norris is my highest exposed guy. That sucks. 7.3% Daniel Norris. I suppose he's my guy.
Any thoughts and or lineups you have that stack competing teams like Boston and Baltimore?
Game stacks.
I mean, I'm sure I have them. I don't really think about it.
I probably do have it, but we tend to... This topic comes up every once in a while. It's just no reason to avoid that in MLB. No reason to... Like in NFL, it's a really good strategy, or it can be a really good strategy to game stack, because the other team's scoring is going to make one team scoring is going to make the other team need to throw the ball and create more either turnovers or more possessions overall because they've got to go quicker. But
you can't change your strategy in baseball.
Right. You can't try to hit the ball harder. It's not going to do anything for you.
Everyone's always trying to score as many runs as they can in every at bat. So
exactly. It's not a time game too. That's also.
So, I mean, if you get a game stack, go for it. I'm sure I have a bunch of them. It's not something I prioritize. I don't even look for it.
I never even notice it. If it comes up, great. If it doesn't, great.
Pretty much exactly. Yeah.
All right. So I've got the 50K winner.
Okay.
That's getting locked in right now. I've got 50 entries into that $12.
Okay.
So my top 50 lineups are going in there. Go Red Sox. Go Rockies.
Go Adrian Hauser. Yeah,
he's on a lot of those. Actually, I've got a little column here for my top 50. He's only on 54%.
Oh.
I would have thought like 66.
Only.
I know Alex is going to have a lot of them because we're using the same projections.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't have 50% Adrian Hauser.
50?
Yeah.
in that tournament. Well, no, he's gonna have 150 lineups. Like I only have 40 out of 150, but since he has a good projection and he's getting basically no ownership, that's why he's getting pushed up to the top.
Do we want to
Right.
guess what Alex's ownership projection or ownership is on Adrian Hauser?
All right, in the $12,
Yeah.
I would guess. Dude, I bet it's like 50 plus. I bet it's 50. It's like 50.
I'll say 24.
Okay. It's gonna be high. Like it's gonna be way higher than what we have him projected at. Like this is one where if you use his projections, it's just wrong. So, like when I've seen him do this, because it's happened with Hauser, but it's happened with a couple cheap guys where I'm like, man, why am I getting 60% of fill in the blank, Joe Musgrove or someone like that? And then I look at his exposures the next day, and he got even more than me, and I'm like, oh, well, that's why. It's just a data point to him. So
yeah, I'm not saying that I have a problem with it or anything. Being aggressive and taking bigger stands, just it's a risk tolerance thing more than anything. I think it'll be lower than you think.
Very well could be.
We will find out soon enough. Lock 10 minutes, guys. It's 6:55. I hope you've already started crunching, because if not, you're probably not going to get done.
This is flying by. Wow.
Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here doing nothing, waiting for an Astros lineup, and that's about it.
Do you think we're going to get one more ownership projection? Because then I might have to let that ride.
Wouldn't shock me.
I bet we do.
By the way, we just got a question about weather. I'm not making any changes to anything that I'm doing for weather tonight.
Neither am I.
My dog is getting super grumbly. Homeboy wants to go outside. Now he's smiling because I think he heard me say dog.
Oh, I did something wrong. Wow, good thing we have 10 more minutes.
What'd you do?
I just didn't upload the pictures, so my leverage things were wrong.
Gotcha.
So now it's going to change. Maybe I get less Hauser now.
You guys fix that. You fix that. Guys, if you want to ask any questions, whether that's premium Slack or in YouTube, I am here. I am at your beck and call. Actually, a quick plug for myself. I dropped an MMA video today breaking down some of the UFC 241 card from tomorrow. So if you want to check that out, that is up on our YouTube channel right now. Or check out my Twitter account or the Awesemo_com Twitter account. It's everywhere. Go check it out. It's quick. Down 12 minutes, 14 minutes, something like that. Not too much. 17 minutes, apparently. Apparently, I won't shut up.
That's all right. Not much good MMA content out there. So a guy like you knows what you're talking about and plays DFS. You're not going to find much better content, especially for free. Like,
I'm not going to lie. It's pretty gorgeous content, too.
It's gorgeous?
It is.
I haven't
yet. It is. Okay. It is.
Give that a peek.
I did a full presentation style on it. Lots of different views, lots of pictures. It's good.
There you go.
Good stuff. Well, Premium Slack is just a ghost town. You can't get these guys to shut up at 9 o'clock in the morning, but at 6:57, there's not a message that's gone by since 6:53.
It's crazy. Where's everyone?
What a world!
Going?
I wish you guys had that sort of restraint for the rest of the day. I'm gonna just have to tell everybody that it's always 5 minutes from lock.
Yeah, it's amazing when people need to put their lineups in. They're pretty quiet.
Yeah.
All right.
Somebody just asked, what would be your Yankees one-off? If I were one-offing with any Yankee, it would be probably Gary Sanchez.
I like Sanchez. Or another guy who you may have heard of, Aaron Judge. Yeah, used to be pretty good at baseball.
Yeah.
Now the jury's out.
Yeah, for me, it's just pretty easy to be Sanchez. 5% ownership. Only $200 more than Judge, so.
Assuming they're talking about DraftKings, yeah, I still think it's Sanchez, but some other sites he's ridiculously priced.
Yeah, Yahoo.
Yep.
The old $10 price tag.
All right, my exposures are different now. Okay.
Interesting.
Let's see what I got of Hauser. Still 23%. Okay.
All right, now that's a perfectly reasonable number, and also 1% higher, 1% lower than what I called for Alex. Both of which are normal numbers.
I want to change. I think Alex is going to have closer to 40 though.
Okay.
I really.
Well, I'm just happy that you don't have 60 or whatever.
No, I had. What did I have? 40. I still have. Okay. All right. Perfect. This is actually fantastic. So I did this correctly. I am very proud of myself. I got exactly on the field of Morton.
Nice.
So that's basically what I wanted to do. And you're like, when people might be watching this, like, oh, take a stand. Well, my lineups hopefully are going to be better than the other people's that play Morton. So
exactly,
they're going to be unique, number one, and hopefully better because they're unique.
Unique New York.
Oh, that tongue twister? That's a tough one. I don't think I can do it. I don't want to embarrass myself.
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet.
Is that a tongue twister?
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. These are all the things that Ron Burgundy says at the beginning of Anchorman.
I've seen Anchorman, but I don't remember that.
Yeah. How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? Audrey. Lanolin? Lanolin? Like sheep's wool? I've seen this movie a million times.
Yeah, I watched it when I was sick with like strep.
Yeah, it was on either like HBO or Showtime movie channels during college. So, and everybody owned the DVD, so I saw it from time to time. Not as much as I saw Stomp the Yard, but
dude, are you serious? That used to be like my favorite movie.
Oh, it is. I have seen that movie 1,000 times.
Have you watched it lately?
Yes.
It is the worst acting I've ever seen in my life.
We'll ignore that.
So bad. It's so bad. Yeah. Oh my gosh. In like 6th grade. I mean, for you, it was probably like high school, but
I was in college.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So I just remember watching that and being like,
yeah,
I'm definitely going to be on step team. And I don't even know if we had one in high school.
It was just one of the random days where we were watching it for like the 100th straight day. I had my laptop in my hand. I started doing all sorts of stomps, dropped my laptop, cracked the monitor.
Oh no.
Yeah, wow. So I stomped the laptop.
So yeah, you're doing a little bit more advanced stuff than what I was doing.
But. I mean, it wasn't good. It just slipped out of my hand. I was probably drunk, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I would say that I have seen that movie north of 100 times.
Yeah, I've seen it probably I'd say like 25, 30 times. Once in the last 10 years though.
I would see it like 2 or 3 times a day.
This is crazy
for a
stuff.
Good stretch. Yeah, I was really into that movie. The soundtrack's fantastic. Movie's just not great though. Megan Good looks fantastic in it though.
Always. All right, we just got ownership. Okay, cool.
There you go. You get that loaded back up for yourself. Makad asking, do I know any fighters that fight similarly to Sean O'Malley? He's been trying to watch him fight for a while. Yeah, he's had some PED test issues. Not that he's the type of guy that's going to be on PEDs. I think he might have got popped for weed at one point. I mean, lots of guys fight like Sean O'Malley. I could talk to you about it after this.
How dare someone?
All right, so did you get to any Savali? Yeah, the YouTube chat today for every one of our shows, people haven't been able to shut up about him. I have 3%. What am I missing here?
Against the Yankees? Nothing. Okay. You're not missing anything.
I thought so.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that. I'll pass. All right. I got to 25% of Hauser now with the new update. He went down 0.1%. Now I'm officially overweight on Morton. 36% of a 35% owned player. A lot of weight popping up.
Greek Ink asking the question, thoughts on John Gray in FanDuel tournaments. He's my most exposed pitcher, so I guess I'll advocate for him.
He's my most exposed pitcher too, so I'm right there with Josh.
Caleb A in YouTube chat said, my high school movie teacher sucked, so we did a whole semester based on Stomp the Yard, like projects, etc. What is a high school movie teacher?
maybe you meant to say music. It's a good question.
Just took a hit of the vape pen right now as we're cresting the end of the show. Deep Purple 98 says, I didn't know Josh smoked a douche flute.
Yeah,
I'll take that. You know what? The cat on my shirt has something for you.
What does
middle finger
shirt say?
It's a cat flipping the middle finger. Oh, music. It auto-corrected. Okay, Caleb A., that makes way more sense because I was really curious what these newfangled movie teachers were in school because that sounded awesome. Yeah, I wish I had a teacher that made me watch Stomp the Yard. I did have an economics teacher in college who gave a final based on the first season of The Apprentice.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that Omarosa lady, I was well versed in her because we had to watch every episode of The Apprentice because that was our final. College is a sham, everybody.
Depends what you make of it, I suppose.
Unless you're a doctor or someone where like you need to be there for a specific set of skills. The business degree that I have burning a hole in my pocket. Don't really need it.
Now you're in the business of DFS.
I am in the business of DFS. We are in the business of locked lineups.
Yeah, man, I feel good about this.
I feel pretty good. I wish that I had a little bit firmer of a stand on a few hitters and a few pitchers. It probably would have helped me out to run another like 150 lineups. But I'm cool with it.
Dude, my exposures, oh my God, I didn't even notice. Boston went way down for me. Colorado went way down.
Way down as in like less than the field?
On some players, yeah.
Huh.
Like my highest exposed hitter right now is 13%.
So who's your top stack?
It's like all mixed in between the Mets, Boston,
the Mets?
Colorado. Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird. We'll see.
Well, good luck to you, man. I'm assuming you don't want to be on this show anymore after 2 hours and 18 minutes. So
run it back.
Yeah, let's do it. Run it back for the turbo slate at 8 o'clock. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out the pinned tweets at Awesemo_com, at AwesemoMLB, at AwesemoNFL. Got plenty of information out there. Tomorrow morning, I will be back cranking out EPL projections for everybody. Lineups lock at 10 o'clock. MMA, I will be in Slack for most of the event so we can hang out, watch UFC 241 together. Adam and EMAC will be on in the morning. Spags and EMAC will be on at night. Jake and I will not be on anything.
Yeah, man. I'll see you guys on Monday.
There we go. Hit the like button on the way out the door and we're out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you guys again later.